Total simp destruction. Total simp annihilation.
You better start a whole fire, now I'm on fire, I need some water, I need Tyler, I need Ramoni, Rebecca, Serena, Selena, let's start a whole choir, I like the way that you get your back, you don't need no one, help you inspire,
destruction.
I'ma add to you, I'ma give you some.
We have destroyed all simps. Total simp death. Total simp death.
I don't play about my
We have destroyed all simps. No more gooning ever. Bob the Minion has won. Bob has won. We have won. We have won. Total gooner death. Total gooner death. Total gooner death. No, not that, not that. But total gooner death. Total gooner death. Total gooner death. Billions must not goon, dude. Total gooner death. Total simp death. That's what this is all about. The simps have had their day. The simps' day is over. It's wiped up. It's destroyed. It's out of here, right? How can they recover after this? We have exposed their machinations. We have exposed their evils, their lies. You know? We have closed the lying simps' mouths. We have closed the lying simps' mouths, right? We're on, you know, the podium. We are like, we have closed the lying simps' mouths. And we have instantly destroyed them forever. No gooning ever. Ever, ever, ever. No gooning. Total gooner death. And we've just annihilated them. Total gooner death. That's speech with cargoes. That's what I'm saying. The second Unsealed Lemon Ask did this is the second simp war is here. The second simp war is here. The great Gentile uprising against the simps is here. You heard it first. The great Gentile uprising against the simps is here. And we must fight. We must be the super soldiers. We must be the super soldiers. Hold on. We must be the super soldiers of the new of the new total simp jihad. Total simp death! Total simp jihad! We are declaring war on all simps! They will be destroyed! They will be found! We will annihilate the simps! We're all dropping out of the cargo planes right now. Total blitzkrieg against simps. Total simp war 2. Total simp war 2. Hail incel. Hail our people. Hail chuds. This is us right now. This is us. We are this. We are this. This is us, the muscular chud. And we are. This is us. This is our war. This is our total annihilation against all simps. Nothing ever happens. Everything is happening. Everything is happening. Everything is happening. Some of you are saying nothing ever happens. Everything is happening right now. Okay? We are going hard on this. We are going hard on this. Total incel victory. We will be the Chad incels that this world needs. We will be the great Gentile chuds, the great Gentile incels that we need to be the change that we need to see. It is so cooked for incel. It is so cooked for simps, dude. It's not cooked for incels. We're just getting started. Dude. But what a day, man. What a day. Bro, send the dang Streamlabs. I don't know how to work Streamlabs, dude. I'm doing I don't know how to add people on. I could do a Telegram link if you guys want for call-ins. I could do that. Dude, when my hair is so short, it gets like messed up and weird like this. Or actually, no, my hair is long on the top. It's short on the sides. I didn't gel it, so my hair is like weird today. So I'm trying to adjust it. But dude, we have just declared total Gooner death. We have declared total Gooner death. We have declared total blitzkrieg on all Gooners. And there will not be a single Gooner that will survive what's about to happen. They will all be just wiped. All of them. All the Gooners will be destroyed, dude. Let's see here. I'm sharing the invite link right now for the Telegram. I just shared it. If you guys want to super chat in, also it's Pinesap. It's powerchat.live/Pinesap3. Powerchat.live/Pinesap3. I think we probably already have some people here. Mike, Stefan. Let's go, dude. Total simp death, dude. Total simp death. Discord call. I don't know if we can do Discord. Let me see. Should we do Discord? No audio and Telegram. I don't know. Does the audio work for Telegram though? No audio in TG. Well, if you guys want to raise your hands, you can. I think people can hear it. W Hat Pinesap, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Schmager. See, we got everybody here. Hananabi, salute to all my incel comrades. That's what I'm saying. This is the total victory over simping. This is the total victory. Can you guys raise your hands to speak? Let me make sure you can. Can you guys hear me? Oh, okay, perfect. That's why there was no audio. Yeah. Sorry about that. So you guys can hear me now? Okay, sorry about that. Let's go. Hanabi wants to speak. Hey, Hanabi, what's up, buddy?
A pine shud. It's good, pine shud.
Not much, buddy. We're declaring total blitzkrieg. Total blitzkriegen on all the simps, dude.
Okay. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that what's going on?
That's what's going on.
Oh, dude, that's crazy. Okay.
But what's up, buddy? Oh, are you still there? Oh, dang, he left. No. Why did big guy leave, dude? Ethan. What's up, Ethan?
What's up, bro? What's up, Pinesap? Inshallah, we will wage jihad against the simps.
We will, brother. We will. We will destroy the simps. We will wage total blitzkrieg.
St. Alphonsus Liguori, pray for us.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Amen. Amen. But yeah, when it comes to the whole religious hippie thing, I would say even if you could argue it's not immodest, it's at the very least prideful and vainglory. You know what I mean? At the very least, You have to admit that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's real, man. I mean, it at the very least is vain. And I think that's the biggest reason, like, I have a problem when she defends it, because it's like, it's not like, what is it doing to help anyone's faith? What is it doing to help anyone become a better Catholic or what have you? It's
Yeah.
not in any way, shape, or form. So it's just this like vain sort of pursuit of like of getting attention, and specifically male attention too. Let's be honest.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
and she yeah, and every time she's called out, she plays further and deeper into it, which only causes scandal. I genuinely think deeper into it and dig heels that.
yeah, it's kind of interesting. I don't know what the deal is with her sort of actions and stuff like that regarding this issue, but yeah, it's just vain, bro. But was there anything else you wanted to say? I was maybe gonna let a couple people on.
No, that's it. Just wanted to say a couple things. You know what I mean?
Thanks, Ethan.
But anyway,
Yeah, dude.
God bless
You're
you.
spitting. God bless you. Okay, I'll be praying for you. Let's go. We love Ethan. Ethan's the man. We love Ethan. Dreamless, what's up, buddy? Oh, you're still muted.
Yo, here I am.
How's it going?
All right. It's going great. A bit of technical difficulties, I guess, but yeah, that stream was amazing. That was the best stream ever. By the way, Nicholas J. Fuentes actually liked Astro's tweet.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Which tweet was that?
I don't know. He just said he liked it.
That's great. I love it.
Do you think he was watching the stream?
I don't know. Maybe he was. I know it was sent to some of the chats. So hopefully he was in there. That'd be awesome though if he was. Because I mean, it's just it's the prototypical, these girls post, cute mass fit on the internet and stuff like that, and then everyone rightfully criticizes them, and they get this like persecution complex. They're like, why is everyone being so mean to me? And it's like, because you're kind of gross. Like, you shouldn't be doing this, like nobody wants to see that, dude.
Bro, I made this like long thread, explaining and giving in-depth arguments that one of her her veil picture was simp bait, and it actually got 100,000 views on Twitter.
That's
and
crazy.
At the same time, Elon Musk tweeted out that like demographics are destiny, and it got like 400,000 views on Twitter. So like,
that was a good day.
yeah, I'm like, bro, like a proportional amount of people viewed my tweet as literally the Elon Musk of all people tweeting like the most like offensive thing possible.
Like Elon Musk goes on there and he's like, our people will not perish from the earth. We must defend our race at all costs. You're like, dang, dude, Elon, what's going on, buddy?
Bro, he tweets the 14 words, bro.
Phase, dude. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, you have to make an addendum because the 14 words mentions like to protect white women, but that doesn't mean to protect the religious hippie from Twitter criticism.
That's true. That's true, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I mean, nothing is wrong with the 14 words, to be honest. And when I say at all costs, it's kind of tongue in cheek. We don't believe in Machiavellianism. You can't do anything immoral or what have you, nor would I ever promote that. There's a bit of tongue in cheek, but there is truth in like we should protect our race. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it definitely is one of those things where a lot of people
like
get. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, there's actually this girl on Twitter. I see a lot of gripers following. It's kind of crazy. Vivacious Astray. Okay, no, Vivacious Astra. Vivacious Astra. All one word. Okay. There's like 15 gripers following her. It's crazy.
Oh, that's not it. They shouldn't be no one should be following an e-girl, man. Also, Hanabi, where'd you go, bro?
Oh yeah, I had to dip out. I got a call.
Oh, no, that's totally fine, bro. Don't even worry about it. I saw you like leave all of a sudden. I was like, dang, like what happened, dude? I'm gonna real
Yeah.
quick. I might just mute you guys if you want to raise your hands again. That's totally fine. I'm gonna probably let on Mike and Falschmaker just so that they can get some words in, and then we'll see what we want to do after that. If you guys have any recommendations for the stream though to make it fun of like anything to react to or whatever, please send it to me in the chat on Telegram, and we'll watch it on stream. How does that sound?
Great.
Okay, awesome. God bless you guys. Let's go, dude. 2 Chads. Mike, I'll let you on in a minute. I'm just going to let on Falschmaker. Hey, buddy, what's up?
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. How's it going with you?
Been better. That is what it is.
Well, that stinks, man. What's going on?
I just lost like $19,400 on the stock market.
Oh, rats, dude. That's horrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're chilling.
No, I feel ya. But what's up, buddy? Okay, you muted. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, was there anything you wanted to say?
Oh, no. Wish you all the best, I guess.
Okay, well, hey, thanks for calling in, brother. God bless you, okay? And I'll be praying for you. I'm sorry about your losses in the market, man.
Yeah. It happens, right?
That's true, man. It's all about riding that wave, right?
Yep.
So, well, God bless you, brother. I'll talk to you later, okay?
All right. Bye, guys.
Let's go. Mike. Macho Man Mike himself. The man.
Yo, what's good?
What's good, buddy?
I'm chilling, man. Just had a cheese whiz sandwich.
Let's go.
Marvin, I was watching the stream. That was so funny. It's like they can't help themselves. These e-girls. It's like every single time, dude. It's like
Every single
even
time.
if they're married. Even if they're married, it's just like, oh, it's like that meme where it's like men showing you something versus women showing you something. Like you brought it up, like, oh, if they want to take photos of the mask, men would just take photos of the mask. Women would be like, mask fit. And then just like, oh, great. Thanks for that.
Thanks for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I know. And they're literally married too. Or like even they get into the habit of doing that when they're in a relationship. Hold on, am I cutting out?
No, I can hear you, buddy.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, they get into the habit of doing that when they're like in a relationship, like they have a boyfriend, and it's just like, okay, yeah, literally, it's like what Nick says is like if you don't curb these habits in a woman, or then by the time you go to the altar to be married, you're gonna be cooked. Dude, you're literally going to be like brought into videos on your girl's YouTube channel. And it's just like, and you're going to be the one taking photos that are going on her Twitter. It's just like, bro.
Babe,
Pack
it's
it up,
time.
dude.
It's time for another married life Q&A. Yes, sweetie.
Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Facts, literally.
Dude, it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, imagine being that badly buck broken. You know what I mean? Like, imagine like you're just like your back has been broken, and you walk around with this like defeated kind of demeanor everywhere. They're just like, whatever you say, dear.
Oh, his back has been broken, all right. I'm not going to elaborate. But
Dude, that man
Yeah,
had so much
it's-
zest. I could season my Jamaican chicken with that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, bro. Yeah, you run him through a zester, get the purest unadulterated zest. No,
Like,
that's real. It's like
it's
they always
insane.
have this. They always have this way of talking too. It's just like always with the up talking and the tone in their voice. It's just like, dude, why are you talking? It's like, what is wrong with you, dude? It's like, it's probably people who have like mommy issues too. They're always like, they'll always fall into this trap. They'll like try to find a woman that emulates their mom because like they have like, I'm just guessing here. I'm shooting from the hip, but like it's pretty accurate to say they'll like talk like that. You know, dudes with mommy issues will be like the biggest simps.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like having an overbearing mother or a bad relationship with your mother turns you into being a simp because she basically breaks your spirit. And so from then on, you look for women and seek out women that will likewise break your spirit too. I've seen it 1,000 times. And I mean, in his case, it's like, you have this woman who you've not told, like, I would be ashamed of myself as a man if I was married to a woman who was continuing to like post pictures of herself on the internet like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, there are people who are like, "Oh, my wife isn't allowed on the internet." I'm like, good.
Good.
Like, you got that under control. Because it's like, dude, it's like, okay, if your wife is gonna, like, I don't know, like, I guess have a Facebook to keep up with like local, I don't know, to keep up with like the community. Like there's a community Facebook where it's like for your neighborhood just to keep up what's going on. Okay, whatever. Like, but don't like be posting. Like you got to draw a line. You know, you have to have some boundaries. I feel like that men are just too afraid to put boundaries in place. It's just like, oh, she won't have sex with me. It's just like, okay. All right, dude.
She won't sleep with me, dude. Dude, if I put in boundaries, she won't sleep with me. Come on, man. You can't expect me to do that.
Yeah, literally.
It's like, imagine being that, like, buck broken, man. Like, it's gross. You know, it's shameful behavior. Like, it's almost like, you know, looking at, like, a horse that's broke its leg. You know what I mean? It's like, gotta put you out to pasture, buddy. You know, you're loading the double-barreled shotgun, right? And not literally, of course. I'm just making jokes, but
in Minecraft.
In Minecraft, not literally, of course, but there's something so shameful about it. You know what I mean? And especially too when they try to defend it, when they try to say, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with it."
Yeah, it's like a form of like spiritual like Stockholm syndrome, because they're like trying to like you said, they're trying to find a woman who's like their mom, and they're like spiritually broken, and they're trying to like be spiritually broken by another woman because that's all they know. It's like a learned help stick. It's weird, dude. And then all these people in the comments, like all these people who were like, I was watching the Wagner stream, and they were like, that's like racist insult misogyny. Like that's like not Christian. We're not Islamic. And it's like, well, you know, in the Islamic world, I mean, women are under control. They can't drive. You know, they're freaking dressing decently. They're not dressing like total freaks. You know, it's like, you know, maybe you shouldn't be so quick to diss Islam. Maybe we should stop dissing Islam all the time.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I mean, it's one of those things where they're like, you're being like the Muslims. And it's like, I don't really care, to be completely blunt. Like, if that makes me like the Muslims, so be it. Because it's all about Catholic modesty. It's not anything that the church does not permit. And it was like that guy today on stream who was like, I've never heard such misogynistic stuff in my entire life. It's like, okay, I hope she sees this, bro. I really hope she sees you know, what you're laying down here, you know?
Yeah, she's gonna like. There's gonna be some e-girl out there who like has a religious hippie marriage story where they found some poor sucker down bad in the YouTube comment section or Twitter, and she just picks him up from the dirt and makes him hers.
She's like, oh my goodness, like, you know, he just defended me. He defended me, and I think that you know, I think that that's so valiant that he defended me from the mean chuds, Christian Wagner and Hassan and all these guys. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, where's the shame in anything that you're saying? You know what I mean? Where is the shame? You should feel ashamed of yourself, dude.
Yeah, don't you feel silly?
Don't you feel stupid? Don't you feel a little ashamed?
Yeah, no, totally. Because they're just blinded. I mean, I don't know. I hope that they break, you know, God willing, they break this cringe cycle before they ever decide to get into a relationship, or if they're already in one, well, hope you don't get married because you're probably shacking up with the wrong girl.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Yeah, it's gross, man. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like these people are like a horror, like an after school special for like what not to be, what not to turn into, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you just look at their lives and it's like they're sad and pathetic and they're down bad and they hope that like they'll just get so many girls because, oh my goodness, I defended her once. I defended her against the mean, the mean chuds online and stuff like that. Where's my medal? Pin the medal on me, right? And it's like, come on, man. Really?
Yeah, and also it's just kind of like goes back to, I was thinking about that, the content they made, because they're like, you were going over it in Wagner Stream, and it was like, and then we're talking about Christian chastity, and it's just like, you're talking about not touching your wee wee with your wife on stream, like not even like John Doyle would do that, I mean,
No.
I hate to say that, but like, it's kind of like you're bringing stuff, you're talking about men's stuff with your wife, and it's just like, it's almost like, what do you have your wife up there to like have the validation, be like, yeah, guys, I'm not like, I'm not a totally like sexually, what's the term that liberals use? It's like freaking sexually repressed or something like that. They're like, oh, I'm not a sexually repressed guy. See, I have my wife talking about it too. It's like she's NFP in her bio. It's like it's totally kosher. And it's just like,
dude.
oh gosh, dude.
What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
it's like the people. Yeah, literally. It's like the people who come into it's like the people who are coming into chat being like, pray for me guys, I like just I fell from my like no fap streak. Pray for me. And it's just like bro.
It's like, dude, stop. Like, we don't need to hear about your no fap streak. He's like, guys, well, and then also those guys who were like, guys, I totally just was with a hot girl. Can you just like please pray for me, because like I was with this 9 out of 10 hottie and stuff like that. Like, there was a guy who left AF because he said something like that, where a bunch of people were criticizing him on the timeline because he was like, yeah, I used to get it on with these like 9 out of 10 absolute babes, but I don't do that anymore because it's sinful. And it's like, oh, so you're humble bragging is what you're doing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, they're like, oh well, I'm, and they're literally just like, they're like trying to hide it, and also they're just shameless. Well, not really, they're hiding it, but they're just shameless about it. They're not really like, it's like they're not really sorry about that. They're just like, oh, okay, I'm one of you guys. It's just like not one of us. It's like
Not one of us.
Like they not like us. They not like us. Type shit. Yeah.
It's literally Kendrick Lamar versus Drake all over again.
Yeah.
And we're like, this guy's a certified simp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and he's like, he'd probably be listening to like, they'll probably be listening to that one song off of Certified Lover Boy. Be like, girl, you a lesbian girl, me too, and then be like, that's so real, dude. That's like, I gotta try that one out.
Certified, like, I gotta try those ones out. I'm writing down the tips right now. It's like, come on, man.
Write down Drake line. Yeah.
I think what I'm gonna do is probably just end this live chat, but continue with the video and react. Should I Mike, do you think I should react to some of RH's videos?
I mean, part of me is like, oh, it's giving a woman attention, but like, I mean, I guess, yeah, if you want to do it for the content. Okay. I mean, yeah, normally, I guess, because you cover like all sorts of people, so it's not like you're like, oh, like religious hippie, I'm gonna like A-log you, but it's really like, I'm, how some people are like, they like, what's the word that Nick said? They like neg women online, but it's like they actually kind of like them or whatever. You know what I mean? It's not like that.
Legit. Well, and we can watch other videos too. If people have something that they want me to react to instead, even including you, they can just at me in the narrow way comment section, and I'll watch it.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good.
Awesome, bro. We'll see if we can pull that up. Okay.
All right. God bless.
God bless, G. Let's go. Let's flip and go. Okay, so let's see if you guys have any. Bob the Buildus added me. Beginner's Guide to the Traditional Latin Mass for Latin Pronunciation made me cry. That seems kind of funny, but I'm kind of wondering. I'm kind of wondering. Like, let's see. Whether there's a better video to react to, not necessarily from RH either. Like, just in general. You know what I mean? Just in general. Let's see if at PineSap, hello. Hey Retro, what's up, buddy? No more RH. I'm gonna go. No, Heffley Groiper, don't. No, what did I just say during this entire stream? No gooning, dude. No gooning. PineSap, when I see RH, I can't help but goon. Please. No, dude. Come on, stop. You guys are sus, dude. Gay sus. All of you are gay sus, dude. Do an RH video. First time here in Nevada today. Okay, I'll do the dating.
Why am I only
Q&A? Oh, no, wait. That's the one that we did. That's the one that we did. Dating Q&A. Answering your questions.
Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hey, guys. It's your boy, your friendly neighborhood PineSap.
Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Amber Rose, also known as the Religious Hippie. You can basically follow me on any social media platform or go to the Religious Hippie. Tell the viewers a little bit about yourself while I pull up these questions.
no.
Bro, what? Wait, look at the shoulder right here.
Today for you guys. I thought this would be a fun video to do together.
Yes.
Do you want to tell the viewers a little bit about yourself while I pull up
Do you want to tell the Do you want to tell the viewers a little bit about yourself? Do you want to tell the viewers a little bit about yourself? Do you want to tell the viewers like just start like what if it was like Surgeon Simulator and like suddenly her hand started to like bug out. So she like had to flex every individual finger. So she's like, do you want to tell the live chat about what you wanted to talk about today? You know what I mean? Like, what if it was like that? That was just a little thing, but I was like, that's not it, dude. Pre-betrothal shoulder rubbing would make St. Alphonsus Liguori vomit. That's what I'm saying.
these questions.
No, that's all I got.
He is a master's student at the University of Chicago.
Technically, I'm a pre-matriculant. I haven't finished undergrad yet.
I know these words. So we're going to get into the questions now since you guys found out so much about Max. Okay, so our first question is it a sin for a Catholic to date a Protestant? The short answer is no. It's not a sin to date a Protestant. The church does permit it. However, we should not be searching for this type of relationship. It complicates basically everything, and it's a lot easier to date inside Catholicism. It can also cause a lot of issues when it comes to your worldview, political views, especially moving on for.
Yeah, that part's like yawn. I wanna move on. This question, red flags in women. You guys can't see it here. Let me move the red flags in women.
The Catholic men, what are red flags in a girl?
I don't want to get canceled.
You don't even have a platform. You don't
he knows he has a gun pressed to the back of his head. It's like, you better not say anything. You better not say anything. You say anything about those red flags, you're over. He's like, the moment she pulls away, help! Help! Somebody! Like, he starts yelling out. He's like, help! Hold on. Let your boy cook for a moment. Hold up just one moment. Hold up. Like, okay, so this is what it's like. So it's like the moment she pulls the gun away from the back of his head to talk about like red flags of dating. This is literally her now husband.
Shit, you already know I'm obsessed with it. I can't get enough. Back with another milk. Help! Help! Help me! Help!
It's like that one guy. In like the school, like, what's up? I'm here with my friends. Help! Help me! Like he's doing that when the moment she pulls the gun away.
Me canceled?
No, you can do whatever. I don't care. Definitely if she's bossy, if, she feels like she has to take control of all the situations, because as a man, obviously you need to be the one taking control of the relationship and leading her. She doesn't need to be the one to lead you.
It's almost like that domineering type of personality.
The one taking control of the relationship.
Look at that face as he's saying this. My man is starting to break out of the matrix and she's not looking happy. She's not. That is not a face of. That's not a face of contemplating. She's listening and she's saying, what am I gonna? How am I gonna punish? How am I gonna punish him for saying this later? I'm gonna take his Legos away. I'm gonna take away his TV time for saying something like this.
Relationship and leading her. She doesn't need to be the one to lead you.
It's almost like that domineering type of personality that feminism kind of encompasses, the toxic feminist movement, where it's like she can do everything and she doesn't need a man. And, women don't need men, but we should want them, and we should want to step into our natural femininity because they're naturally masculine.
But on the flip side of that, you also don't want her to be super needy. Like, she's allowed to be her own person, but she shouldn't be too domineering, too needy. Also, if she's posting like scandalous pictures online, obviously that's
red flag.
A red flag. She's being secretive.
What? Bro. Wee woo. What did my man just say? I'm sorry, I must need to get my hearing checked. What did my man just say? Huh? Posting what online? What did he just say? Let's Jamie, can we rewind the tape real quick? Jamie, let's rewind the tape.
Too needy. Also, if she's posting like scandalous pictures online, obviously. Also, if she's...
Hold on. We gotta slow that down. Jamie, slow it down for us.
Posting like scandalous pictures online, obviously.
What were those eyes? No way! No way! No way! Bro, her look when she said that, when he said that, no way, literally caught in 4K.
Scandalous pictures online.
Dude! What? Hold on. This isn't, bro, this is insane. This is crazy. Dude, what? That face? That's like, yikes, I got my hand caught in the cookie jar. No, officer, it's hi, how are you? Good evening, officer. No, I'm completely sober. I got back from the bar, but I'm completely sober. That's that guilty, like she knows what she knows what she's doing. Make no mistake, she knows what she's doing. Homie looks like Gio Scotti if Gio were a girl. Who's Gio Scotti? Gio Scotti. Dude, thanks for the $5, Lithio. I appreciate it, buddy. Or Litho. Bro, what? That's cursed, though. Oh, you mean if Gio was a guy? Is that what you mean? If Gio was a guy? That's insane, bro.
And obviously that's
Red flag.
a red flag. She's
Red flag. Red flag, by the way.
being secretive, talking to other guys without like being transparent with you, then that's definitely problematic.
Where those eyes are. Look at where those eyes are. Talking to other guys, look at where those eyes follow. If she's talking to other guys. Me? Whittle old me? RH over here being like, who, whittle old me? I'm just a sweet whittle girl. I'm just a sweet whittle one. Whittle old me? Like, bro, this is so... This is bad, dude.
Well, we have this rule too, where it's like we both know the passcodes to each other's phone because we don't have anything to hide, and we're always transparent with each other when we're texting somebody else. And most of the time, we're very open with conversations and stuff. There's nothing to hide because we have no reason to hide anything from each other. And I think having that open conversation, if you're in a relationship where you can't talk about those things with somebody, I was in a relationship like that, and I wasn't secretive because I was hiding things. I was secretive because any little thing would set him off, and that's not healthy. You should be able to come to your significant other and be like, hey, so and so texted me, or this or that, and they're allowed to be a little upset or concerned here or there. But the main reason is, when it comes down to it, is you were open enough to talk to them about it. it and they're like, hey, I'm just not really comfortable with you texting this person or talking to that person. And you're like, okay, yeah, no, that's totally fine. There definitely needs to be communication.
When she has a second phone, her nose is going red. Like girl giving her defense. It's like, it literally is that B-movie scene when he's like in court and it's like, bro is yapping. Like she's like, Your Honor, I'm not one of these girls with red flags. Case in point, my husband knows the code to my phone. Case in point. Let the jury know that my husband knows the code to my phone. Right? And instead, as Zeno said, she got that Walter White burner phone. I'm just saying, bro.
And your relationship is the most important thing. You know, I'm not saying cut off all your friends. That's not healthy. But if there is somebody who is threatening your relationship, you should have, I don't know, no.
Jocko donated $14.88. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. W Christ, W Stream, Total Gooner Death 100. I gotta hop off now, but thanks for the stream pine sub. Yeah, thank you, buddy. And tomorrow, if you guys don't know, everyone's asking me about the debate review. I'm doing it with Eric Ybarra tomorrow. Dude, it's going to be awesome. So any of the points in the debate where maybe I didn't have like a suitable answer to that given point or whatever, we're going to be covering that. So primarily two of the things that come to mind is like the the quote about Pope Vigilius. There's some information from the Acts of Price that we're going to bring up during that debate review. I think one thing that Luigi threw out on the letter of Hormisdas, but I personally felt like I won on the letter of Hormisdas. I'm not going to lie, just because of the sources that I cited. And the Pope St. Martin on the power comment that he made in regards to the Patriarchate of Jerusalem. So those will be some of the main points that we're going to cover tomorrow, and then just a couple others. But I felt like I did pretty well in that debate. So I'm really excited to just iron everything out. Any points I could have done a little better in or whatever, iron that out and vindicate Catholicism, right? Vindicate our Catholic faith. So I'm excited for that.
Reserves and cutting them off. What other red flags do you have about women? Any others?
No,
if they're vegan. Do you want to talk? Do you want to do this one? Yeah. Have about women? Any others? No, if they're vegan.
Wait, no. What's that face though? What's that face?
And cutting them off. What other red flags do you have about women? Any others? No, if they're vegan.
Lay epic troll. Bro out here doing the monkey face, like, you know. Lay epic troll face. She's doing the epic troll face right now, dude.
Do you want to talk? Do you want to do this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just make fun of him.
No. Apart from virtue, what are the most important aspects to assess while dating to discern if the person is suitable to be one's future spouse? Hope that made sense.
The thing is, virtue kind of encompasses everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's assuming that they're a good person. Other than assessing their character is their personality. Because, you know, someone can be a good person, but you might not be a right fit for them. It's just making sure that, you know, you're attracted to them and you can see them being your spouse for the rest of your life.
Because there is, like, I've met tons of people who, I mean, I click with right away, but I would never date them or marry them. And so it's really trying to figure out the person that matches you the best with personality and like character traits and stuff like that. Virtue is the most important, but I think, like Max said, the personality of somebody is really important too. I think having things in common is really...
If he's got some of that zest, that's important too. If he has some of that zest. If he's a little zesty, if he's a little quirky, those are important things to look for.
Important. What is the best way to approach a woman for a date? Just ask straight out or go out?
Run at her in the parking lot. That's what you have to do. If you want to date a girl, you have to be crazy. You have to be insane. You have to be a psychotic freak. Because that's what I am. I'm a psychotic freak. That's what I know that I am. You have to be out in the parking lot at night when she got off her graveyard shift. And you have to be in the parking lot like you have to be in the like tail end or the tail opposite of the parking lot under like one of those like one of those street lamps, and like the way that the light is like displaying on you, it's like it kind of has like the darkness of the shadow of your face, and you just have to be breathing like and you have to be breathing deeply while you're staring at her, and you have to make eye contact. You have to look at her and you have to be like, and then And then she like looks at you and she's like, what's that guy doing? And the moment she starts to, you know, like put her keys in the car and kind of unlock, you're like, point at her. You're like, woman, you will be my wife. And then you run at her full speed because, dude, listen, there is no time. Listen, you cannot waste time, dude. You can't waste time. If you waste time, she's going to lose interest. Dude, you don't want her to lose interest, bro. You don't want her to lose interest, okay? There's a lot of creeps out there. Jay Sears just said in chat, there are a lot of creeps out there, and you got to be the one shutty to protect her. So you have to have a commanding presence with your voice, because if you could say, hey, you know, yell, she knows you're the boss. She's going to be protected. And if you run at her full speed, look at how you're running after her. You're running after her love at full speed. She's going to be so impressed with you, dude. She's going to be like, he's the fastest guy I've ever seen. Right? And then you have to just scream at her, will you be my wife? Will you be my wife? And she seems scared. It's just, listen, girls are nervous, okay? Girls are nervous, so because of that, she's going to seem scared, but she's just nervous to talk to an alpha like you. That's Pine Sap's dating advice, okay? That is Pine Sap's dating advice. Take my dating advice, and you will have yourself the trattiest of baddies one could ever imagine.
Out is friends first.
Definitely be friends first. Amber and I got a lot of stuff out of the way when we were just friends. If you approach it as being friends first, then you don't have any expectations. So you're not setting yourself up for failure.
And also you get to know that person on kind of a deeper level than if you just ask them out. Because on first dates, I mean, even though Max and I were like really close over the first few months before we actually started officially dating, the first date was like nervous too. We were both nervous. So even though we already had that friend foundation, there's always going to be that little bit of nervousness on the first date. So if you start getting to know them as a friend first and you see if you're compatible, you know, with the personality and hobbies and things and, you know, just worldviews and faith like we talked about, that would be a better setup for a relationship than have you just went up to some girl you only talked to maybe once or twice and been like, hey, you want to go on a date? I'm not saying you shouldn't do that because some women enjoy that, but for the most part, friendship's really important first to make sure that you're not a murderer and you're not going to kill her on the first date. Not that
What? The way that she just casually drops something like that, like, so she just knows you're not you know, serial rapist. Just so she knows you're not like a murderer. And then like his face here, like I'm like, what is going on, dude? What is going on? That's crazy. That's like an insane thing to say. I mean, well, it's not insane in the way like, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm kidding about the running towards women in the parking lot thing. Please do not do that, of course. I'm making a stupid joke, you know, and don't, you know, don't be hurting anyone or anything like that. I think that's more than apparent, right? I don't think that needs to be repeated. But like she took it from like a 5 to a 10, dude. And I'm like, you could have gone at like a 7, you know, because you're like, if she had just said like, you know, because there's a lot of bad guys out there or whatever, she's like, no, if he's a serial killer, so she knows you're not a serial killer. And I'm like, what is going on? That jump though, bro. That jump is insane.
Is going to kill me, but you can never be too careful. What topics should be gone over on the first date? Career, future plans, etc. So first dates, let's assume that you already know this person fairly well. We'll go over the two situations. You know them well, you don't know them well. The first situation is you probably already know them well enough to know certain things about them.
You have to have your nose, okay. Honestly, I'm going to show you someone who has Riz. Andrew Tate, dude, Andrew Tate sucks, okay? He has no Riz. I know someone who has Riz. You guys might know this gentleman too. You might know this guy. Do you know who I'm talking about? He has more Riz than any of us. He has more Riz than any of us.
Hey everyone, let's do an earthquake siren.
if you follow my absolute goat, Frankie McDonald, on the first date, and you're like, okay, we're going to do an air raid siren. Like, she will be yours. She will be yours, dude. You follow my goat right here, she will be yours, dude. There's no doubt about it. You have gotten the girl at that point. You have gotten the belle of the ball. If you follow my boy Frankie's moves, lay a little earthquake siren on her. Girls love when listen, old sap, okay? Old sap, he knows a thing or two about girlies, you know? And I know you lay that earthquake siren on her, she's not going to be able to resist it. You know what I'm saying? So that's a little page from Frankie, dude. Frankie knows what's up.
Like how many kids they might want to have, how old they want to be when they get married, things like that. However, I think some important things to go over on the first date is faith. What kind of Catholic are they? Because like we mentioned in the beginning of this video,
honestly,
you could find a Catholic guy who's really great, but then all of a sudden you find out they could be into something like, I don't know, maybe you like strawberry Pop-Tarts and they prefer the brown sugar ones.
Or maybe they want to use contraceptives.
Yeah.
Or like something that actually matters.
Pop-Tarts are important, okay?
I don't find it funny.
What kind of Pop-Tarts?
I could make fun of that, but like that's actually pretty solid. Like you do gotta make it very clear that it's like you want to follow, you want to follow the faith. You want to be a faithful follower of Christ. And so you don't want to play around or whatever. I had a girl, for instance, that I had gone on a date with, I think my junior year of college, and I mean she was nice enough or whatever, like she's my friend and stuff like that, and I love her like a brother, but when I first met her, I'd gone out on a date with her, and I actually didn't wind up dating her because she supported the use of contraception or whatever, so I at that point, total goon or death, never goon, $20. Thank you, buddy. Absolutely. Total goon or death. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that, buddy. Never goon. So true. So true. But, we broke it off at that point because I was like, I was kind of thinking to myself, like, this ain't the road I want to take. Like, if I'm going to be with a girl, I want her to love and believe all the church is teaching. So we broke it off. So that's pretty solid advice. But, what can I say?
I don't find you funny.
I don't think we had the Pop-Tart talk yet.
Actually, I don't like them because they have seed oils.
Good answer. So you might know this person really well, and you might already know certain things about them, but knowing where they're at on the faith is really important, where they stand on contraceptions, political issues, abortion, things like that, because a lot of Catholics could claim to be Catholic, but then go against the church teachings on LGBTQ agendas and just stuff like that. So you definitely want to make sure that you know.
It's like I said on the Christian stream, you like go up to the girl and you're like, I know what the real numbers are. It's like that meme where it's like, just let me hear you say it. You go up to the girl's ear, you're like, I know what the actual numbers are. Goosebumps, the arm hair starts to raise. Hey girl, I know what really happened between 1939 and 1945. I know what actually went down. Hey girl. Walk up to her in a club, you're like dancing like this. You go up, you're like, the minions never work for the bad guy. Guess they didn't work for Hitler. No, I'm just messing around. I'm just joking around. I'm just messing around. Did you guys ever see that minion tweet? Hold up. Hold up. At Minions, is it really true you guys used to work for Hitler? No, silly. We only work for villains. You go up to her, you say, hey girl, those doors may have been wooden, but my doors are wide open. Hey girl, Those doors may have been wooden, but the doors to my heart, they wide open. You know? And like, this tweet though, dude, is so good. No, silly. We only work for villains. Banana! Banana! Dude, that is peak Riz right there. That is peak.
What you're getting into. So if you don't know the person, make sure that you get that out of the way. If you do know the person, you should already know a lot of their views and ideas and political stances. But if you do already know the person, you can get into deeper things like, how many kids do you want? Do you want a house or an apartment? What kind of job? Do you want to be a stay-at-home mom? Little things. You could talk about careers and be like, hey, do you want to work outside the home? Do you want to work remotely? Like all these interesting topics can be really beneficial.
Just make sure when you go on the first date that you're not like reading it. Yeah, don't make it a checklist.
Yeah.
Just make it small talk as if you're talking to a friend. And that's why friendship is important in the beginning, because I feel like when a lot of people approach marriage in Catholicism now, they kind of see it just as like a checklist, and they approach it very much, it's just very contractual as opposed to loving and life-giving like it's supposed to be. They're a little too intentional about what they want, so they want to make sure like everyone checks the boxes. That's what I did to Amber.
What? Is having some attraction important, or should you only focus?
Okay, so this is another moment that I will say that is actually kind of true. Like, I do see a lot of guys, especially in our circles, who are like, well, she checks all the right boxes. But it's like, yeah, but like, do you actually love her though? You know what I mean? Like, if you don't actually love your wife, like, it doesn't really matter if she checks all the Well, okay, let me clarify actually what I'm saying. I roll the tape back a little bit. She should check all the right boxes. Like, you should not be with a woman who is not an Orthodox Catholic. If she does not believe in all the teachings of the church, I don't care how much you like her, get her out of your life. But I guess what I'm more trying to say is that should be baseline. Like, that should be baseline for even considering being with a woman. But on top of that, you should say, is this a girl who I could see myself spending the rest of my life with? Because I'll tell you, dude, I've met some really, really nice, I met some nice Catholic girls. I know fake sell and stuff like that. But I have met some nice Catholic girls who just, they checked all the right boxes, but I could just not see myself marrying that girl. And so I didn't pursue a relationship with her. And that's fine. And you have to kind of judge the pursuing of a relationship based on factors such as that. Otherwise, you're just kind of playing around.
Some personality.
Attraction is very important. God gave us sexuality for a reason, and it is beautiful.
It's good. Do not be afraid of that. That's a great point.
Goodness, dude. Come on.
Thoughts on posting photos with your significant other or spouse? Yay or nay?
Yes.
I think you need to discern though, because if you went on the first photos with your significant other or spouse, yay
What? Hold on.
or nay?
Yes.
I think you
What?
Relationship with someone as opposed to just wanting to be their friend.
That's a great point. Thoughts on posting photos with your significant other or spouse? Yay or nay?
Yes.
I think you
Yes.
photos with your significant other or spouse. Yay or nay?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Dude, stop the cap, man. Come on. Blood is like down bad, bro. Blood is like down bad. Yes. You can post those pictures, sweetie. I don't mind. I don't mind if the other boys look at you. You're beautiful. You're beautiful to me. It would be irresponsible for me to hold all your beauty to myself. It's like, oh my goodness, dude, stop. Stop. This is horrible. Is this what like waterboarding feels like? Is this like what like getting bamboo shoved up like up my fingernails feels like? Because that's what I'm feeling right now.
I think you need to discern though, because if you went on the first date and you're already posting like photos of each other, it might not be the best idea. I don't think I posted anything about Max until I think the end of like November. We started dating on November 4th, but I didn't post anything about us until at least 3 weeks later. I have seen many people make the mistake of posting about a guy that they went on a date with, just one, whether they were friends or not beforehand, and the relationship ended, the date didn't go well or something later, and the guy was like, hey, maybe not. Then she had to take down her post. It's just important that
Is that why you post pictures of just yourself without your husband? Is that the reason why? That kind of almost seems like what, I don't know, like Amarath or like some of these other girls do, because they almost want to give sort of the illusion that they're single. Because, listen, And this is I remember watching some guy cover this about like some drama or whatever that had gone on with like one of these streamers. I think it was like that Amrath girl or whatever. And she just straight up admits, she's like, yeah, I post pictures like alone so that guys have the illusion that they can get with me. She was just brazenly open and honest about it. And honestly, is this really that different? Because again, I question, are so many girls looking at you and being like, oh my goodness, sweetie, you're cute? Or is it kind of like you're trying to feed your very active and vocal audience of simps that, you know, want nothing more than to defend you from mean, you know, sexist chuds and stuff like that, right? Totus Tuis sent $15. Thank you, buddy. Photos with your wife are permitted on Facebook only for your grandma to see. That is so true, dude. But it's like, what is the end goal with posting these pictures? What is the end goal? Who are you trying to impress? And I think we all know who. I think we all know what's really going on, right? I think she likes to be coy and she likes to be like, oh, you know, I just post pictures alone because I felt cute today. Whether people want to lust after me, that's their decision. But it's like, girl, we all know like why you put a lot into posting those photos, okay? Let's make no illusions about it.
We do preserve our hearts and protect our hearts. You know, you want to make sure that you're exclusively dating before you start posting and make sure that they're okay with it too. I don't know if that's technically a red flag if he doesn't want to be posted on social media and he's like adamant about it. I don't know. I feel like he should want to be posted, but if not, I don't know. Anyways. How long do you talk before being official? If you haven't met in person but have FaceTimed and texted almost every day for months, are you dating? No, you're not dating unless somebody...
If he wants to post. If he wants to be posting those photos, it's like... She goes up and she's like squeezing his arm during the video. He's like, stop it, honey, you're hurting me. And she's like, do you want to be posted in those photos? And she's like looking down at like a note on the computer. Like we can't see it off screen. And it says like no in all bold and like shows like a skull and crossbones. She's like, hey, Max, do you want to be in my photos? Like she's grabbing his wrist like super tightly. It's cutting off the circulation. He's like, no. I don't want to be posting those photos. I don't want to be posted in those photos. Just please let go. Just don't hurt me anymore. She's like, good. Yeah. See, Max doesn't want to be posting those photos. You know, I'm respecting his decision. It's like the like she's got the gun pressed up to him the entire time. So is there anything you want to say about me posting those photos? He's like, I love them and I support my wifey, you know?
FaceTiming and texting.
How do you deal with trad men who have unrealistic standards for a Catholic girlfriend? I've met a lot of guys who have unrealistic expectations, who are considered to be trad guys, I guess. And I think it gives a lot of Catholic guys a bad rep, personally. I once dated one guy who would get mad at me if I didn't wear lipstick, a dress, that I didn't really want to be a stay-at-home mom at the time, although now I do, because Max allows me to step into my, you know, femininity, my natural femininity, and so I want to be a stay-at-home mom now. But yeah, I've dealt with it.
I'm at least glad she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, but it's like she should have I don't know. I'm not trying to nitpick. I'm glad that she wants to be a stay-at-home mom. I guess that's better than not wanting to. So, you know, I'll take it. But, you know, it's like one of those things where it's like, where's the sense of duty? You know what I mean? It's like guys should have a sense of duty. Like, you know, and for anyone who thinks that I'm just being like unfair because she's a girl or whatever, like, I don't think guys should be pursuing like a career in art if it means like their kids go hungry. You know what I mean? Like there's to a certain extent, you have to put your kids first. And so if you have to put your hopes and your dreams on the back burner, so be it. You have kids. You have a responsibility to those children that God has given you. And you have to do anything that is the best for them. And if that means that, you know, for the guy, he's got to work down in the coal mine, and for the girl, she's got to stay home and be a stay-at-home mom, that should be the default. You know? You got to put your kids first. It's not about you. It's about them. But it also shouldn't be seen as slavery, because it's like these things are what we are expected to do, right? And if you're not doing those exact roles that God has made you to do, you're completely sacrificing his commands to follow your own will. And that's satanic. That's horrible, dude. Ben, I broke up with my GF last year because I told her to get off Instagram and it led to an argument, not dealing with that. Honestly, W Ben, dude, that's awesome.
This, and it really sucks, but personally run the other way. Seriously, you do not want to be friends with these people. Don't entertain the idea of wanting to even date these types of people because their standards are unrealistic. And you're a person. You have your own thoughts. You have dignity. And unfortunately, a lot of guys don't treat women that way who claim to be trad.
I mean, we're definitely traditionalist Catholics, but toxic trads are definitely a real thing. The reality is that women are human beings just as much as we are. And, you know, so everyone has ugly days. Women are their own people, you know, I mean, they need to be treated with dignity and respect. So yeah, if you encounter people like that, don't even try to be friends with them because that will not be a fruitful relationship. You should definitely pray for them that they will not be jerks anymore. But yeah, just wait for the right guy to come along.
Also, I would throw in there too that a lot of those guys are more domineering and dominant than they are loving. A relationship's meant to be loving. It's supposed to be this mutual love. It's not supposed to be somebody above the other, even though obviously the man is the head of the household. He doesn't treat people below him as, you know, lesser or anything. It's, you know, it's a relationship. It's not a dictatorship.
Ideal dating time before marriage, usually 6 months to a year.
That is like so gay, dude. That's an unrealistic standard. What is like an unrealistic standard about saying like, hey, you know, maybe we should not, you know, maybe you should stay home and take care of the kids. You're being sexist. That's an unrealistic standard. No, I think that's like basically just what women were made to do. And I think guys were basically made to protect and provide for their families too. Like, what's the deal with that, dude? You know? Tarantino Land Automobiles said toxic trads. They mean Groiper. And that's on Groiper, son. That's on Groiper, son. That's on Groiper, son. Like, that's how I'm feeling right now. That's on Groiper, dude. I am a toxic trad. I'm so toxic when I walk in there and I've got my loaded up cargo shorts and they're stinky, dude. And I'm like, hey, I think men and women have roles and they should stick to them. And someone's like, somebody arrest that man. He's a free thinker. And he has the cargo shorts to prove it. And I'm over here free thinking. Max over here, he's living on the plantation. He's the houseboy on the plantation. He's like, whatever you say, massa. I'll... No. I'm also just kidding around. I'm just having fun. But he's like, whatever you say, massa. I'll do whatever them girls want. And I'm like, I'm a free man. I'm a free chud. And I say no e-girls ever. And this is because we live under 1984, right? They want to put me in a box. I'm a short pants wearer in a long pants world, dude. I'm a cargo short wearer in a jeans world. And I want to be the one to wear the cargo shorts in the relationship, okay? This is literally 1984.
That person. How far can the couple go before encountering sin? This is a bad question because it's the wrong question. When you're asking this, it's kind of undermining the innate dignity of that person and the beauty of the sexuality that God gave us. So you don't want to be using that person for your own gratification, but without breaking the
Okay, that's kind of a W, actually.
rules. The question you should be asking is, how do I honor my, potential spouse or someone else's potential spouse as a human being and as a child of God?
Facts.
In terms of, certain things you can't do, making out is one.
People might mock that, but that's actually not the wrong take. That's actually a W, because it's like, I mean, I make jokes and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it's like there should be a respect between you and your wife or you and your girlfriend to not want to sin against each other, right? I mean, you should look at her and realize that, she's a daughter of God. She was made in God's image, and, you don't want to do anything to harm or impair that. And likewise, she should be the same way towards you. And if you're thinking of each other as sort of like, how can I get pleasure from this person? You're starting from sort of the wrong basis by which a relationship should reside. So that's actually that's a pretty good point. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I'm not just trying to be a hater, right? Like, I don't want to just like take issue with certain comments just because I'm like trying to be some A-log or something like that. And a lot of this is half serious and half truth too. I mean, in all reality, I hope they have a beautiful marriage. I don't want them to have a bad marriage or anything like that. I think that's a completely evil thing to want for someone. But I do think that, quite frankly, I do think that RH should not be posting pictures. At the very, very, very least, she should not be posting pictures of herself online. That's just inappropriate behavior. That would be like if I was posting like shirtless gym pics on the timeline. Like, dude, nobody wants to see that. That's gross. You know, that's immodest and that's gross. I don't care if you're like, dude, just totally got backed and I'm yoked. It's like, cool, keep that under the shirt, big guy.
One that is scandalous and always a mortal sin.
Yeah, I think it's also important to remember that if it's leading you into sin, like for some people, it only takes cuddling to create some kind of arousal. If that's the case, don't do cuddling. It depends on the individual couples, but you really need to discern what boundaries you're going to draw and draw those hard boundaries. Because if one person gets weak, it's the other person's job to hold that person accountable and to separate themselves and be like, hey, no, we can't do this. This is a sin. Because there are going to be moments when one of you is weak or both of you are weak, and remembering those boundaries is what's going to keep you guys in a good Christ-centered relationship.
If you wouldn't do it at Mass, in front of a priest, or in front of the Blessed Virgin Mary, then don't do it.
And also go to confession
Ace,
together.
that's real. That is real, though. That is real. Honestly, yeah. If you would not do it in front of, do it in front of the Holy Theotokos, the Blessed and Immaculate Virgin Mary, if you would not do it in front of your priest or something like that, or at Mass, it shouldn't be done. So honestly, that's a W. I like that.
Builds a lot of trust, and it helps build a relationship up in Christ, you know? Okay, guys, and with all of that being said, thank you so much for tuning into this video. Everybody say hi to Max, because he made a cameo in this video. And
hi, Max! Hi! No, I'm just joking. Not trying to hate, though. Not trying to be a player hater. What the? Why is that up there, dude? What? No, dude. That's like that racist, like, Catholic stuff, man. That's like that racist Catholic stuff. You know? This is my jam right now. Auslander out, bro. Auslander out.
Gotta make a move to a town that's right for me.
What the?
Town to keep me moving, keep me grooving with some energy.
What the heck is going on, dude? Let's see. What video should we watch? What video should we watch? Gerbert's Void. Isn't like Gerbert's, I'm not trying to hate on him, but isn't he just like one of those like kind of like post-irony dudes who has like every flag hanging up because he doesn't have like an ideology or whatever? Dude, I kind of hate that stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if he's like actually based, that's great. But you know, like, okay, this is kind of a whole problem I have, and I'm gonna be completely honest. And this is gonna be harsh, but I'm just gonna say this. I'm tired. I don't know if Gerbert is like this, so if this doesn't apply to him in any way, I take back everything I'm about to say. But if it does, you know, imply him, I mean the full weight of what I'm about to say, even directed towards him. These irony people are insufferable. And I don't mean like irony like how Groypers use irony. We use irony as a tool, but we use it as a tool because we actually care about something deeper than ourselves, right? And so irony, it's like we use irony against like, you know, like Jews or like e-girls or what have you to kind of make like a deeper point of things mattering, right? Like when people try to be like, JD Vance is so based and so cool, and like, I don't know, we make fun of him or whatever. It's like the reason we're you know, employing irony in something like that is to illustrate the point that it's like, no, he in fact is not cool. He's not awesome. This is not 2016 energy like we're cooked right now with the Trump campaign, right? We have to be honest about that. So that's when irony is awesome, but you know, this like try-harding and not caring is super gay. It's gay like no insult to you, Peanut Gallery. You're awesome. I love Peanut Gallery when I use this term, but it's like being in like the peanut gallery. It's like you seeing like everyone else living life and caring about things and actually having ideologies and things that they want to fight for. And they just want to like sit in the background and be like, ideology, bro, that's like stupid and cringe. I actually make fun of everybody. I make fun of everyone. Oh, okay, so you're homosexual. Thanks for letting me know. Thanks for letting me know that you were gay. You could have just said that, actually. You didn't have to go over, the intermittence in that, right? But this like gay not caring attitude is just completely cooked, dude. I hate it so much. I can't stand it. It like there is more masculinity in caring about what matters than just being a complete nihilistic freak who does not care about anything and is not willing to fight for Jesus Christ and not willing to fight for this country and save the white race. If you don't care about those things, get the hell away from me, quite frankly. Get the hell away from me. Like people like that are actually evil and we should consider them like enemies. Because they want to drag everybody down. Someone just said it like J-Reg. Yeah, oh my goodness, literally this guy, dude. Like literally a guy like this. I mean, this dude doesn't care about anything, right? Nazi-flation. They don't know who to support. I'm actually a critic of all ideologies. Yeah, because you're gay. Because you don't have any sense of identity. You live in a you live in a post-liberal, late-stage capitalist world that gives you the capability to DoorDash food all day and not care about anything, not have any convictions, not have any sort of like deeper willing of the heart to change things for the better. So you sit there on your stoop and you criticize everyone else and you're like, everyone else is lame and gay and I'm awesome. And you know what happens when you talk to people like this? You know what they really turn out to be? They're like centrists. They're liberals. They're like neoliberals. They're like Destiny. They're like any of these like centrist neoliberals who don't really want to offend anybody, so they try to stay on like the sideline of every conflict and event. Tyler said facts. Yo! Tyler's watching right now? Let's go, dude. We're so back. That's awesome. It's good to see you, buddy. J-Reg hangs out in the BAP sphere. That's actually, that's not surprising. Someone just said he's Jewish, so I actually take that back. That's not surprising. Yeah, that actually, that tracks. He seems like a BAP sphere kind of freak. So true, Pinestep, so true. Real, dude. J. Greg has never been funny. The only people I've ever seen him find funny is Redditors. Yeah, because Redditors, it's like they try to Reddit, like what Reddit really is. Everyone makes fun of Redditors, right? I mean, we've all seen the, images people post on Twitter or whatever of Redditors and the Wojacks or whatever, funny meme they make of Redditors. But here's what the like heart of a Redditor is. A Redditor is a sort of like critic, right? Yeah, the old saying, no. I can do better than that. I can do better than that. The Redditor ultimately in his sphere and in his sort of like whole being is like the armchair critic. He's the armchair critic. He's the armchair expert, so to say. And the reason that they're like that is because they think of themselves as a class of their own. They're above everybody. Everyone else is stupid. Everybody else is, this sort of too serious individual. They care about things. And because they care about things, caring about something means there can be a sense of loss. There can be a sense of struggle. There can be a sense of upheaval or battles or obstacles that you have to overcome. And Redditors don't like that. They don't like struggle. They don't like struggle. They don't like having to fight for anything. Because what makes us human, what makes us human beings who are living and breathing and drawing breath is we fight every single day. Conflict is a central aspect of our lives. And people who are armchair critics don't like conflict. They maybe like conflict when it's sort of put in this bubble of there's no real sense of loss, right? I mean, for instance, what's the worst thing that's going to happen on a Reddit thread? Someone's just going to make a better point than you, right? There's no sense of loss. There's no sense of you losing anything. There's no sense of you might fail or you might get made fun of or you might get, the crap knocked out of you and you got to pick yourself back up. You're just going to lose. A stupid internet debate. We've all been there. And you know what happens? You forget it the next day. Maybe they don't, but most of us forget it the next day. But Redditors don't like real loss because real loss, again, is part of the human condition. And they're not human. They are in the sense that, yeah, of course, they're human beings. That goes without saying. But they are not living what the experience of what it means to be human. They want to sort of put themselves outside of the human condition. And that's why half these people are depressed. That's why half these people don't take anything seriously. They don't take anything seriously because they don't want to live in what it means to be a human being, to be a man made in the image of God. And a man made in the image of God has to struggle and has to fight for what really matters every single day. Every single day is a struggle. Every single day is a decision to either collaborate with the devil and Satan and his minions in this world or follow God. And because they have opted out of the struggle, Jay Sears just said in chat, they don't live, they survive. So what they do is they survive every single day and they live in this pathetic existence where Sam Hyde actually had a really good rant on this. He said they're like the level 1 slimes in a video game, right? They're the level 1 slimes. They will always be the, peons that will get killed by the hero. They'll never really upgrade. They'll never really be in a better position than they are now. And anytime they see someone do better than being a level 1 slime, they say, that guy? Don't you know that's a lot of effort to put in to just get killed by the hero on like level 50? Don't you know that's a lot of effort to escape the monotony that we live in? Yeah, that's what I thought. So instead, they're content with just surviving. They're content with that just being their life. And a guy like this will at maybe most make a funny YouTube video. At maybe most, he'll make someone laugh once. But he will never make any change. He will, unless he changes his whole worldview and he actually cares about following God and he cares about saving what matters, he will forever be surviving. And he will never depart from this lowly condition that he has placed his own life in. He has only himself to blame. He has chosen this. And so as long as he's just this sort of irony bro, armchair critic, I don't take anything seriously, I'm goofy, I'm silly, everything, I make fun of people's sacred cows and social taboos, but I would never ever say the N-word, right? That's that like, that's that meme that some people have been posting. I really like that one. Like, I think art should, provoke and change people's minds, but I would never ever say the N-word. This guy would never say the N-word. And me, I'm no longer a level 1 slime, buddy. So you know what? I'm gonna say the N-word. I'm gonna say the N-word. I'm just messing. I'm just messing. I'm trying not to curse.
To find out who is in power, simply notice who you are not allowed to criticize.
Jews.
Oh, I know this one. It's the Jews! You're not actually supposed to say it. Yeah, the Jews! Those guys we're not allowed to mention or criticize. Did I hear somebody criticizing Israel? In a way. The Jews, right? Jews. Ah, and come, my mortal enemy, here to defend your precious minorities.
The people of Palestine!
This isn't fun anymore.
Man is honestly kind of probably voicing a little bit of his own his own disposition. Like everyone's waking up about the Jews, and he's just like guys, you're criticizing the Jews right now? Really? Did the Jews make it rain yesterday? It's like, yes, they own the weather machines. How do you not know this, J-Rec? Wake up, sheeple. No, I'm kidding. But it's like he quite literally is making this point of like being like, yeah, it's the Jews. Yeah, it is the Jews. Do you have like an actual point for why it's not? You know what I mean? It's like all these people will be like, yeah, really, guys? Yeah, really. I said it. Did I stutter? Do you want to have an actual conversation and try and actually rebut the point I made? Or are you just going to do this gay armchair critic kind of thing? Oh, you're going to do that because you actually know that is the real answer and you just have no way of actually addressing that? Oh, that's what I thought, right? Weak man without a chest. Because it's one of those things where, someone says the truth and they're like, the Jews do run everything, right? The Jews do run everything. And rather than him being like, no, here's actually why they don't and blah, 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 blah. Not that it would matter. They do run everything, right? But him actually trying to offer a substantive point, he's like, look how silly when you call out Jews. Look how silly you are. No wonder this guy's with the Bapsphere. That's all they do. They're like, yeah, I'm sure the Jews caused it to rain the other day. No, can you actually address why does the ZOA basically own Congress? Why does AIPAC basically own all of our politics? Why can I get thrown in jail in Europe for questioning a certain historical event? Do you have any answer to that? And they don't. And sometimes they'll even just double down. They'll be like, yeah, I am Jewish, and I think you should go to jail. Well, I have all the information I need now, don't I? Not hiding it anymore, are you, Shlomo? You said what we all knew the exact. It's Adam King, right? It's Adam King literally with Nick. If you could ban Catholicism or Islam, which religion would it be? Without missing a beat, he says what we all know. Catholicism. Because it's more offensive to him, right? So it's one of those things where for a guy like that, they'll either just double down and they'll just say what we actually know about them, of course, confirming what we've been saying the entire time. Or they'll try to do this sort of picking around. It's almost like when you were a kid and you didn't want to eat something that your mom put on your plate, so you kind of moved it around to make it look like you ate more than you actually did. They want to pick around the point. They want to pick around the roast, right? And that's just not it. That's just not it. Don't let these people mock you into silence about things like the Jewish question or whatever. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to deracinate you and break your spirit. Don't ever let them do that to you. You got to speak up. Let's see here. Wait, is he with BAP? Well, there you go. Yeah. That is what that is, right? He's with BAP. Christ is king, brother. Absolutely, Xenodroid. Christ is king. Britain for the British. Absolutely. Europe's white. It's not an idea. Europe is a white nation. My goodness, a white continent, and it should stay a white continent.
The chicken bake. Sam's Club guys, what do you got?
This video specifically embodies a sort of cosmic horror.
We're Costco guys.
Every single participant is fully, sincerely enthusiastic about the hell they live in.
We have these pizza pretzels.
Yet they subconsciously project micro-expressions suggesting fear and a deep need to escape, as if their bodies are puppeted by something incoherent and otherworldly. They're skinwalkers, propelled into a shambolic fugue state like fungal cordyceps ants. The only emotion they feel is a binary hot-cold proximity towards pure virality metrics. Looking at their dysgenic dead eyes as they bombard you with MK Ultra repetitious products summons that same unnerving discomfort you feel the first time you get stuck in a mundane conversation under the influence of mind-altering substances. And for the first time, you really, truly acknowledge that you're going to die one day. It's like being stuck in a room with a powerful robot programmed by a machine learning algorithm whose only goal is generating noise. And you're just hoping and pleading it doesn't figure out that pain makes humans scream.
We're Costco guys. Of course we're in a Lovecraftian existential horror. Like, it's insane, dude. It's like, we're Costco guys. Of course we're in an existential crisis in a post-capitalist society. You know? Slop. Let's see here. What other content should we watch, guys? What other content should we watch? Nintendo GameCube. Maybe I judged him too hard. Perhaps I judged you too harshly. Our continent is called Europe.
And our continent is called Europe.
So real. I love Europe, man. I actually do love Europe, though. I when I went there for what was it? When I went there to go see Rome and stuff like that, I fell in love with Italy, dude. It was probably one of the most just beautiful places I've ever been in my entire life. Like I could not imagine the profound beauty that I was seeing. I mean, like, I don't know. You know, I don't know. Like when I was in Assisi, right? I remember seeing where Saint Francis of Assisi had been buried, right? And there was just there was like a profound sense of like peace, right? Like there was just a profound sense of peace. Being in this place, I thought to myself, it's like I could live here for the rest of my life and die a happy man. And I wouldn't need a lot. Because I mean, like in my life, you know, I've talked with you guys about this like 100 times over, but there's always been a profound sense of like a lack of peace in my life. You know what I mean? Like just a lot of noise, a lot of chaos, a lot of things going on, and I don't know. It just was very peaceful. It was just a good place to be in, you know. I still think about that a lot. Still think about that a lot. That's you know, something that means a lot to me. So Retro said, I have a video I want you to react to. Well, send it over, big guy. I'll definitely react to it. Pine Step, how's your Latin? What did you do to learn? I had someone teach me the prayers of the rosary in Latin, so we would go over them and stuff like that. And I would also I would like read them out over and over and over to kind of get a feel for them. So that was the main way I learned. It was kind of a little unconventional, you could say.
I am a very attractive man. I'm very popular with the ladies. I have them queuing up at my door for a big gooey dose of these superior genes. Now, you're obviously not as good looking as me, but there is a foolproof method, 100% success rate, for you to get the woman of your dreams. Just kidnap her off the street. As we all know.
You know, I will say something about Count Dankula. I did put out that tweet the other day about like kind of the anti-SJW era of YouTubers being just insufferable now. I mean, like Shoe on Head, like honestly, dog, like some of the stuff she said on like Twitter and stuff like that, I don't even think I can repeat. Like all you need to know about her is she is a degenerate and she's a freak. And if you don't believe me, go watch, look up I Hypocrites, The Skeptics, Where Are They Now, Part 2. She is like all kinds of messed up, dude. Like, oh man, it like some of the stuff she said is just vile, like actually just gross, like not even like funny, like just like actually like someone who's just depraved and clearly just needs to like be locked away forever. I can't, like, anytime I see someone bring her up anymore, it literally sends me into like a violent rage because I'm like, how is she still not off the internet? She's been on the internet for so long, dude. Like, log off already, you know? But that being said, you know, and then Sargoy of Cuckwad. I mean, Sargon is so gay, dude. He's just like this gay liberal who, you know, is like, well, how could you say that about the Jews or whatever? How could you take a position on anything that's not just like free speech absolutism, right? He's a grifter and he's a convictionless bastard. And honestly, I mean, here's the thing. Richard Spencer has his problems, but Richard Spencer did win in that race debate with him. Actually, you know what? If we have time here, I know my roommate wanted to go get shakes eventually, probably. Let's see. My mic is going up and down in volume. Oh, that's weird. I don't know why. But honestly, we could watch that debate. In fact, you know what? We were gonna watch this. Let's just watch the Sargon versus Richard Spencer debate and comment on it. Sorry, I was just texting my buddy back. Mic issues? Huh. Let me see here. Am I still having mic issues? Please let me know in chat. Let me know in chat if I'm still having mic issues. Let me see what's going on. Pulling up the Logitech stuff right now. Let's see. Kind of turning up my input gain a little bit. Is that better? Or is that worse? Let's go. Good? Okay, perfect. Keep it at that. White nationalist Richard Spencer brutally implodes. Where's the full Sargon of Akkad versus Richard Spencer debate? Finding the full debate right now. Where is that full debate, dude? Are we gonna have to go to like Rumble or something probably for it? Let's see here. Steam it. Oh, here we go. Rumble's got the hookup. Unironically, I kind of like Rumble now. Like, Rumble's gotten a lot better and stuff like that. I mean, it's like I can watch like Del Groiper's like restream or like archive of like Nick's videos and stuff like that. It's just like way better. I don't know. Like, I pay for YouTube Premium with like the student discount just so I can, you know, not have to listen to YouTube ads when I try to like go to sleep. But I don't know. Rumble has honestly been getting a lot better.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to yet another Warski Live. How you all doing? I see we have a lot of people in the chat. How you all doing? Good. We got Sargon's going to be just 4 minutes, but we decided to start, so we're not too late.
Tuning in.
There it is.
Point between a traditional conservatism and your starting point. What would it be?
Yeah, I think conservatives are wrong from the beginning because their starting point, as they articulated it in the mid-1950s, was the Cold War. So it was an image of the United States as a counter-Soviet Union, as a capitalist global empire. Their starting point was free market economics, capitalism, effectively, and their starting point was individual liberty. So it was a liberal starting point, you could say, and a Cold War starting point. The starting point that for the alt-right is identity. And you know, there's another term that I've certainly adopted that I did not invent that comes from France actually, which is identitarian. And it is that notion that before one thinks about foreign policy, before one thinks about economics, before one thinks about anything else, one has to answer that question: who am I and who are we? What am I part of? What is this extended family that I am at home with? And that is identitarianism in a nutshell. It's that you ask that question first. American conservatives in the mid-50s with William F. Buckley and so on did never ask that question. They never seriously inquired into race. They vaguely inquired into religion, but they certainly never seriously inquired into what America is as a European nation and who they are as Europeans. And I think we've basically seen the end result of this, which is a conservative movement that just slowly floated leftward, that was based in abstract values like free market capitalism, which could be used to justify things like the Iraq War or what have you. That it was just this free-floating ideology that floated leftward, that floated this way and that floated over to Iraq in some cases, and just became a total disaster.
Richard is like actually very smart. Like low key, he's honestly spitting right now. And he's right. Like the starting question of politics should be, who are we? And how do we best preserve who we are? Right? And that involves you know, the most important thing being faith, right? But that involves two important things: race and faith. If you have the faith first and you have your race, you've got everything. That is the foundation of politics right there. And anything outside of that is meaningless and pointless. It doesn't matter. Economic policy should change according to what is best suited for the preservation of that civilization, right? Things like and social policy would necessarily follow all of what our Lord wants us to do in a society. So once you have that, you have a good civilization, and that's what built Europe. But now that that has been undermined and we just have basically either liberal economic policy driving all our decisions, or we have the sort of tyranny of like, you know, socialist left-wing ideology trying to undermine that identity, both religious and racial, we have completely lost that sense of the question of politics. So man, low key, blood is spitting right now. I love what Richard Spencer's laying down right here. Retro asked, can I send the link to the video I want you to see in the YouTube chat? You might try to, but I think YouTube might just block those automatically to prevent like, I don't know, like, you know, weird things going on with like sending links, you know, like they don't want you to send like a live leak video to chat or something like that. You can also like at people too, if that's made easier. Oh man, Jordan B is so funny, dude. I love Jordan B. Let's see here. I got like added to this random chat that I don't know why I'm here. Let's see here. Someone said in chat, people obsess over economics because it's the safer part of politics. Faith and identity are much more important, but that creates a problem with modern liberalism. Oh, also, Retro, this is not like you need to super chat me. Try posting the link in chat for free or adding me on Telegram. But if you can't do either of those, if you want to super chat the link too, you can do that. But I'm not recommending you to do that because I don't want to, just take up I don't want to take up your money or anything like that, but that is a way you could get the link over to me. But try posting in the YouTube chat if you can, and if not, try adding me in the Telegram chat to see if I can get it. How do you find your identity if you're mixed? Well, I think if you're mixed race, what you should do is you should try to look back at the lineage of your parents and see what kind of identity can be formed in there, right? I mean, for instance, like Mexican identity came from sort of a mixing between the Spanish and the natives there. And what's interesting is they kind of formed their own identity as a result of that sort of cultural crossover that was distinct for Mexico. And so, if you're struggling with identity formation, I think it would be helpful to look back at the lineage of your parents and see what their lineage is and how that can be kind of incorporated into the way that you live, if that kind of makes sense.
Didn't conserve anything. A conservative has to conserve something. A conservative is ultimately a collectivist in that sense. A conservative is someone who is conserving his class, his people, the state itself. He is an institutionalist in that sense. It's actually the left that is individualistic. Even when the left attempts to use collectivist economic means, it's still in the name of individualism. It's still in an attempt to reach a deracinated, pure individual who is not weighed down in the leftist mind by community, by history, by race, religion, the past, the one's duty to the future, etc. So the left is fundamentally individualist. This is the problem with American conservatives. They get this fundamentally wrong. We're individualists. The ISI is a stupid fuddy-duddy group for closeted homosexual Catholics or conservatives, I guess. And it used to be called the Individualist Society Institute or something, some nonsense like that. Society of Individualists. They always wanted to base their...
Not cool with that jab by any means. That was gay of Richard to do. And I don't know what Catholics he's talking about. We don't believe in individualism.
Their belief system in the individual and individualism. That is fundamentally wrong. Man is, as a political animal, man is a social being. He's part of a greater family. He's part of a past and a future. He is part of an identity that is bigger than any individual. And so the starting point for the alt-right is that question. Who are we? Who am I? Identity.
So that's very interesting, this interaction between individualism and the left and the opposition that you proposed there. I remember Sargon of Akkad being surprised at me, stating that I was not so much of I'm a libertarian, but I'm not so much of an individualist, because I recognize that individuals can adhere to groups. They can use their liberty to adhere to groups, and then the group can become a very important aspect of their identity. Would you define as a libertarian? And do you see, just like me, that there's no transgression there between being a libertarian and not being an individualist?
Is that for me or Sargon?
Yeah, for you, Richard, and then I'd love to hear Sargon about this.
Sure, I'm not a libertarian. I think a lot of libertarian energies in the United States were masked conservatism. So many people who claim to be a libertarian simply wanted to get the welfare state off their back, thought that the welfare state was pro-black or...
Okay, so this is why Richard did that little jab. So William F. Buckley, Chodorov? No. Let's do an early life check on him real quick. Yeah, that's about what I thought. So that's who founded the ISI, as you can see, right? That's who founded the ISI, right? One of the co-founders, and our good old friend William F. Buckley. Yay, fake Catholic William F. Buckley, who literally dissented from church teaching and placed, Jews above his fellow Catholics. Wow, that's so awesome, dude. Love that guy. Definitely, I just absolutely love that guy who sides with, Jews who hate our Lord rather than, his own kin, his own fellow Catholics. That's awesome. But anyhow, Laudator Jesus Christus sent $5. Thank you, buddy. Been watching you for a while, buddy. Been watching you for a while, Pine Sap. You're so great. Love your content. Currently discerning Benedictine monastic life. Your last video on St. Alphonsus Liguori was great. Your streams are so fun. Thank you. Well, hey, buddy, I love you, man. I hope you're doing great right now in discerning Benedictine life. You should check out Christ in the Desert Monastery, dude. That might be a really good Benedictine monastery to go check out. But I know also the Clear Creek Abbey is really beautiful too. So you got two really, really good ones, not too far away that would be worth checking out for Byzantine Benedictine monastic life. So thank you so much, buddy. That made my day to hear.
Or
don't do it now, but you should watch the debate Sean Hannity had with a based Catholic priest in the 2000s. I would love to check that out. That should be really good, actually. We might do that. We might do that next stream just for time's sake. But that sounds great, man.
Anti-traditional values and
honestly, I hope you guys are okay with watching this. This is honestly kind of interesting for me. So I'll pause and comment on my thoughts on different things.
Maybe they're right about that. And so they were anti-government more than they were truly libertarian. And their idea was that we would get rid of the state and then these communities would flourish. This is a kind of right-wing libertarianism. You could see this in a lot of the people who got behind Ron Paul and people in the Mises Institute or so on. There is a left-wing libertarianism which does not really come from that basis, that thinks that the individual is sacrosanct, that we need to ever expand what individuality means. But no, I am not a libertarian in the sense that, though I oppose many actions of the government, I think the state is an existential entity. There will always be a state. One entity will be sovereign. One entity will be able to use violence. And the question really is what and who? Who is in charge of this existential entity, the state? And so I am not a libertarian in that sense, although, maybe in a basic sense I'm a libertarian, less government or whatever, but not in a crucial and fundamental sense.
Excellent. I think we should do intros for Stick and Sargon as well. Sticks, do you want to do an intro for yourself, maybe your political views, so we know where everyone's standing on this right now?
Yes, as far as the most crucial issues that are being spoken of today, essentially I would consider myself to be basically a libertarian, which is to say I see...
I don't want to listen to Sticks. I'm definitely going to skip over that.
The animosity.
Yeah, let's just try to summarize.
You obey traffic laws and you pay your taxes. You more or less. I would assume you do. You are effectively obeying a group right. I mean, a corporate entity that is the United Kingdom or some province within it has power over you. So this whole group rights question is, I think, rather autistic in the sense that it's dissociated from lived reality. In the sense that we want
massive sophistry there, Richard.
We want to. No, it's not.
No, I have to stop you there, right? Okay. So the state is the political entity under which we are governed. Individual people are governed. The purpose of the state, in say Britain, as conceived of by Locke, is the protection of the rights of the individual.
As conceived of by Locke, that state was not invented by Locke. That state has a history far greater than Locke. It's ridiculous. Locke wrote this, therefore it's true.
Okay.
This is exactly what I'm saying. You're living.
Locke was also a gay anti-Catholic. Can we just say this? All me and my homies hate Locke. I hate John Locke, dude. F that homie. John Locke literally wrote an entire, I think it was called a treatise on toleration or whatever. That was one of his main works. And he basically says he's like, every group except Catholics should be tolerated because Catholics are the only intolerant ones. And it's like, yeah, we are. Because our religion is true and all other religions are not true. Right? All other religions other than Catholicism are not true in any way, shape, or form, and you will go to hell if you follow them. So because we have said that, because we have made that exclusive claim to truth, he basically said, yeah, Catholics should just be completely barred. They should not be tolerated, and they should be completely just oppressed, right? The fact that that freak has been able to define Western political thought for the past 300 years is such an abomination. I mean, this is why America is so cooked right now. Because everyone thinks if you're not hurting anyone in a direct sense, then you're good. But what it negates is that we have a social responsibility to not sin. We have a social responsibility to upkeep the law of God. Because if we don't, our society fails collectively. It's not enough to just be about the non-aggression principle and people not directly hurting you. There is a greater social responsibility that we have in not sinning, at the very least because it goes against God, right? Because it goes against God, no society that sins and makes sin the central facet of its civilization will ever flourish or prosper. And this is why you see like Rome go down the tubes. I mean, literally Augustine's City of God, that's the entirety of that work, is just remarking on how Rome went down the tubes because they turned away from God. And so the Romans had only themselves to blame. When you turn from God and you turn from his designs, that sin, that collective sin, will bury the civilization around you. This is why some sins were so heinous that they applied the death penalty to them. Because the denizens, the members of that civilization knew that if they allowed that sin to continue, they'd be punished by God, and rightfully so. That's like why Justinian like remarks that like homosexuality should be like punishable by death, because it's such an abhorrent sin that like it needs to be just like absolutely destroyed. It needs to be like burned out, right? So they had this sense of like collective responsibility to not allow sin to define their civilization. Because we don't have that now, that's why everything is horrible and sucks.
And an autistic, dissociated reality where you ask moral questions like, shall a group have a right over an individual? Oh, isn't this so sweet? It's irrelevant because in reality, groups obviously have rights. The government can arrest me. The government taxes me. The government forces me to do all sorts of things. The United Kingdom prevents me from entering the country. Obviously, corporate entities have rights. Your family has a certain hold over you. I don't know anything about you personally. What your father says to you has more weight than what a complete stranger, what I might say to you.
And so
obviously, groups have rights. You need to think about these things existentially and phenomenologically. That is, in terms of lived reality. You want to play these liberal games of like, well, Locke said the government was this. Well, Jefferson said that a government was created to protect civil rights. That is irrelevant. That is totally irrelevant to lived reality. What John Locke wrote is irrelevant to lived reality.
Let's hear Andy, because this is very interesting. We will get back to it. This is very interesting, but let's hear Andy.
I just want to, I want Sargon a fair chance to respond. Because yeah,
I would, but someone was busy bloviating, so I think. I mean, am I allowed to go now, Richard? Is that okay with you?
Yes. Please go.
Obviously, quiet.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, but wait a second. No, just
tell me about the lived reality of being a white person. I'm really curious about your conception of white identitarianism.
We can get to that, but do you want to respond to what I just said?
Well, honestly, Richard, I kind of tuned out halfway because you were just going and going and going after conceding.
That's your problem, Sargon.
Goodness, what a like peanut gallery low IQ retard, dude. Like that's what Sargon. I mean, I was just talking about this with J-Reg, right? The armchair expert, the armchair critic, and that's what Sargoy is. Sargoy is a armchair expert. Well, I tuned out what you were saying. Well, maybe if you open those big old ears of yours, you would actually have some knowledge in that tiny peanut-sized brain of yours. This guy is just such a pathetic, like, pseudo-intellectual. He pretends to be just above it all, but it's because he doesn't actually want to have any convictions aside from being like a free speech absolutist. And so because of that, he's not able to directly answer Richard's point. He just sort of says, well, you know, I tuned it all out because it was just nonsense. It was just yapping. No, this guy's laying down knowledge. Maybe it would do well for you to listen a little bit. Right? And Ben said in a chat, Spence is trying to say that there are objective realities that exist before any philosopher writes something down. That is true. And that's the thing about philosophy. If philosophy does not properly engage with the reality of things as they are, that's how you get these horrible utopian ideas that never work. I mean, like Jean-Jacques Rousseau, for instance, denied original sin. And because Rousseau denied original sin, he thought that every political system that like led or that the reason why men were so corrupt and lived in horrible societies was precisely because, you know, they were in chains, right? He says man is born free, but everywhere he is in chains. That's his famous statement. But the problem is that failed to engage, and this is what Joseph Damas criticizes about him, that failed to engage the fact that the ultimate suffering that man has is not from some external political entity or group or state or, leader or what have you, but it's from man's sin. Man has original sin, and because man has a concupiscence towards evil, we cause our own suffering. It's as Chesterton famously said, right? There was I think the story goes, there was a newspaper column, and the question was, what is wrong with the world? And people wrote up these long essays, taxes, people don't pick up things off the sidewalk, that's trash or what have you, right? And they would write all these long pieces. And Chesterton wrote one simple, phrase, right? I am what's wrong with the world. And when he says, I am what is wrong with the world, what he means is man's sin, our sin. That's why you can't build a utopia, because a utopia is ultimately against what Christ had ordained for the reality that we live in. My kingdom is not of this world. All the anti-Catholics, all those who go against Christ, try to build a utopia, heaven on earth. And it always turns out badly. It always turns out into oppression or tyranny of some kind and ultimately breaks the spirit of man. It's not more human. If anything, it's the least human, because the image of humanity, the image of man, is in he who gave man his image in the first place. And that's God. So that's what Sargon can never understand. That's what, all these libertarians can never understand, is it's not the political system that's broken. It's not taxes. It's not the state. It's not this. It's not that. It's man. And the only way that man stops being broken is if he finds his image in God.
It is entirely
my
attention
problem to follow what I'm saying. I would assume that most of our thousands of listeners actually followed exactly what I said.
Can you?
I was trying to respond to you, but you just kept going.
Yeah, Spencer, can you summarize what you asked him?
Sargon is asking these autistic moral questions, like, in my abstract realm, does a group have a right over an individual? What I'm saying is those questions are ultimately irrelevant, because in the lived reality, in the world, groups do have rights. You ultimately obey the government of the United Kingdom. So do I obey my government. I ultimately obey your government. Your family has a certain right. It has a certain power over you that strangers don't. This is lived reality. And we can actually learn much more from thinking phenomenologically in this sense, or existentially, than we can from saying something like, well, John Locke said the purpose of government is this. Yippee-ki-yay. It's irrelevant.
Can I jump in?
Let me explain to you exactly what I mean. Right. Okay. So
then Sticks will also jump in right after.
What you are proposing is a system that necessarily subordinates the individual to the wills of the group. And therefore, the individual's rights will always come second to what you have conceived of as group rights. You follow me?
What are we talking? Are you ever?
What are you talking about? What is this idiot? What is this idiot? Kendrick Lama said in chat, Jewish. Listen, Goy. Okay, the individual rights. So you have to be allowed. You have to watch your pornography. You have to shoot up your heroin and get drunk on alcohol, right? That's what individual rights means. The group is a reality, dude. How do you not know this, man? I mean, this goes back to, you want to talk philosophy, like, Aristotle, right? Man is a political animal. Like, politics is unavoidable because politics is the way in which we organize. That's the way in which we organize our civilization. And so for him to just be like, well, the concept of the group, it's not a concept, it's a reality, dude. If anything, the individual, while existing, that there is a reality to the individual, but in your paradigm, your conception of the individual is the theory, because it divorces a man from every other tie that he has.
I follow what you're saying. You're not addressing what I just put forward because you don't want to talk about that.
But I'm asking you if you follow what I've just said there. Do you follow it, yes or no?
I more or less follow this kind of cartoon version of what you think I believe. Yes.
It's not what you believe, it's what I believe.
Sargar, it does seem that you are adding stuff that Richard has not stated here. It does seem that
I'm not stating Richard's
you are
position.
assuming
I'm stating what I think happens in reality that Richard seems to be conveniently ignoring.
Well, it's not the case that because you are part of a group and you would think of that group, for example, if you're part of a corporation, you can recognize that this corporation has rights. It could be represented in courts, for example. That wouldn't mean that the corporation would subordinate all of the individuals composing it. It wouldn't be a subordination necessarily. It could be a voluntary adhesion.
Could be, but it will necessarily, in a number of the cases, be domineering. I mean,
has there ever been a purely voluntary...
Hang on. Let's Sargon have a chance to respond.
God.
Thanks. Go ahead, sorry.
A corporation,
and then Sticks will talk right after that.
A corporation does not have the legitimacy to violate an individual's rights because the corporation's rights do not supersede the rights of the individuals that make it up. And we all agree that that's how we should have a government working. Like, that's how society should work. Because if you don't agree with that, then what you're saying is it's okay for a group to violate the rights of other people, like the individual, for its own purposes.
You're not living in what state are you describing? Because you are not describing the United Kingdom, which goes to war, which arrests people, violates their rights left and right, goes to war.
From a spiritual position. Use logic.
You're talking from a abstract liberal position, and I am pointing out how vacuous this ultimately is. You don't describe any state or organization that has ever existed. Has there ever been a purely voluntary political order in world history?
I'm not even talking about things that are purely voluntary. I'm talking...
Has there ever been a purely voluntary political order in world history?
Hey, Sticks, let's hear what Sticks has to say. He's been listening, so go ahead, dude.
Yeah, first I would just point out that it isn't possible to create a fully anarchic order. That would be true. But it is possible to constrain all possible forms of abuse and keep things preferably at a minimum. My question would be this. If we're looking at a civic structure, and Spencer, you pointed this out, and you're right when you point this out, and I would agree. If you're looking at groups of people as having rights, how would you institute specifically like a white identitarian U.S. or a superstate? I think you've mentioned like North America becoming an ethnostate. Let's just simplify it, the U.S. How would you implement that without then disabusing large groups of people who are already under the civic structure considered citizens, but happen not to be white? Or how would you disabuse them of that status and push them out physically or sort of make them be lepers within the state without abusing them under that civic structure? And combined with that, how would you then, because you're talking about pragmatism, I take it, when you're talking about living reality, how would you do that without causing so much untold bloodshed? Like one of the things you've spoken of is, hey, I want identitarianism, but it's a kinder, gentler, it's not Hitler. We're not going to purge people. We're trying to make this, easy and I'm not trying to hurt people. How would you do it without hurting people who dissented, including a lot of white people? And some of those people, I've pointed this out even with regards like MAGA populism. Now, I support deporting criminal illegals, but would probably take up because then
I have defined it. Okay, not exist right now. The ethnostate is an ideal in the sense that the ethnostate, as I have defined it, does not exist right now. There are many states around the world that are ethnostate-ish, you could say. Poland is a kind of ethnostate. There are plenty of ethnostates in the third world in which you have an ethnic group that has its own government, effectively. And yes, they're citizens, and yes, there's a kind of abstract democratic element to it, but there's also a spiritual and racial element to the composition of the state. So that kind of ethnostate is actually not terribly unusual. We have plenty of existing examples. Israel might be the most famous. Israel actually is a kind of model for an ethnostate that I would want for the white race in the future, in the sense that a Jew...
No! Richard, no! Buddy! No, I get what he's trying to say. I just thought it would be funny if he was like, I actually think that the Jewish people are just smarter than white people or what have you. I'd be like, no, Richard, you were meant to be the chosen one. It's Obi-Wan. Yeah, it's Obi-Wan, and I'm coming off the spaceship, and it's like me looking at him. He's like, don't make me hurt you. I'm like, you are the chosen one, Richard. I loved you like a brother. And he's like, you turned her against me, and tries to force choke me out and stuff like that. Typical sap interactions.
Who from around the world, even one that doesn't have any direct connection with the state of Israel, has a right of return to Israel. He has a home. And my concept, and it's not just mine, there are many predecessors to me in terms of thinking about this. in terms of the concept of the ethnostate, there would be a right of return for all whites. So it would have a civic order, but it would also citizenship would be ultimately racially defined. I will go into all the things. I will go into all this.
I would just have to remark, though, that couldn't that be problematic? Because one thing that we see in Israel is they have a problem with like white nationalists who have a Jewish grandparent going there and Nazifying things. That's actually been something that's happened before. What would you?
Oh my goodness, dude, this guy's like a mouth-breathing retard. They're Nazifying. Actually, guys, Israel's the real Nazis. Like, come on, buddy. Buddy, what's going on, dude? What is going on?
You say, what about you? You'll have to maintain a civic structure regardless, I would assume. It can't just be racialist, like, hey, we're a giant white tribe. What about your fans, and some of them do? What about those who say, well, Italians aren't really white, so we're not going to let them in? This Turk who's got like 7 white great-grandparents, screw them. This person's a Hapa. That person, they have like, their features are just too dark for some. So cut and dry as hate.
People, German people, Anglo-Saxon people, Slavs, and so on. We know a white person when we see one. Now,
hang on, if that's the case, then?
Well, they like laugh at that, but it's kind of like a self-evident thing. Like, this is the whole thing that I get onto with people who are anti-race realism. Like that weird, like, yellow fever guy who was like an Eastern Orthodox dude getting onto me on Twitter. He's like, I want to debate Pine Sap on race realism, but he ran from me. And it's like, dude, like, you're an American expat who's got like yellow fever, dude. You know, and again, like, not that I have, you know, if he happened to be called by God to marry a woman who is Asian or whatever, you know, I don't have an issue with that. But when you press it on everybody else, then it's like, yeah, now I've got an issue because you don't want the white race to exist. That's my whole issue with you, right? And like, they'll always bring up this whole thing of like, what is a white person? Well, if you're even asking what is a white person, then racism doesn't exist. I can't be racist towards anyone. Because you don't ask that about any other race. You don't ask that about black people. You don't ask that about Asian people. You don't ask that about Jewish people. You don't ask that about Arabs or any other group, but only white people. Because when white people start to assert our identity, notice how these, you know, again, the peanut gallery comes out and it's like, what even is white? And Italians at one point weren't even considered white. And Ben Franklin considered like all non-Anglo-Saxons not white and stuff like that. And it's just this gay mouth breathing, you know, exercise in mental gymnastics. It's like, dude, we know what a white person is. It's self-evident. Someone goes up to you, German and Irish parents, right? German and Irish. They look white. They've got, you know, white culture, European culture, right? In their home and stuff like that. That person is white. I don't need to get out the magic scale to figure out, so if my calculations from 23andMe are correct, no, that person's white, okay? And the way that the anti-race realists would try and mock me is they'd be like, well, I've seen some white-looking Asians. Yeah, but it's like, we still know that person is Asian, right? Like, if you look at that person, it's like, they still are Asian even if they have a whiter complexion. There's Mexican people who look a little lighter skinned, but they're still Mexican, right? It's like, it's not that hard to understand, dude. I don't see why this is such an exercise in mental, you know, cognition for these people.
What's the point in getting DNA tests if you know white people when you see them? I'm genuinely curious.
Or a white Jew. What if someone's like
the Jews are a distinct people, obviously. They define themselves.
You don't know.
Yeah, what if they infiltrated?
What if they just say that we're white, which they do?
I don't understand. You're saying, what's the point of a DNA test? I never actually even suggested that. I'm just saying that this concept of a core white race, I don't think is a particularly contentious one.
You can't
people, like, if you don't benefit from affirmative action, you're white. Let's just put it that way. Is that
so? The Japanese are white, and certain
guys, come on.
That is the dumbest categorization of what a white person is I have ever heard. It's entirely contextual. And what about you're not going to have affirmative action, are you? Because you're not going to have any non-white people. That's such a silly thing to say.
I won't even comment on that. I'm just simply.
You've got nothing, Richard.
See, this is
Sargon. This is really tedious.
This is my problem with a lot of people online.
Hold on. I'm basically saying that the core of the white race is not really a matter of great debate. one can ask these prickly questions. Is
you
some
mean questions that are
Southern-
going to come up necessarily in the establishment of the white ethnostate? Go on.
Sure, they came up in the establishment of an Israeli state. Israel exists. It's a flourishing society. It has a national order. These are practical questions that can be answered.
You missed the
Sargon, I really find you to be a very tedious and annoying person.
I started with good intentions, Rich. Then you started like acting like an ass.
Sargon, I am
not
going to say something that might be the most insulting thing we've ever heard.
I will accept your apology
You
whenever
think
you give it.
you think that you are more intelligent than you are, and that's actually a really tricky place to be.
How intelligent am I?
I don't think you're very intelligent.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Sargon.
Well, that's a personal attack
because your opinion is very important.
Sargon, I have debated people who have.
Richard said this in chat. People thought that the Earth was flat. According to these people, the Earth became round when people called it round. Perfect point, Retro. Perfect point. The same thing. There were people who didn't think that germs existed because we couldn't really analyze, the microbes and what have, or the, bacteria, right, that makes up germs, are germs, right? We couldn't analyze bacteria. We didn't have like the capability of, at the time, looking through a microscope and seeing bacteria. But then we did, and we understood that germs exist. Does that mean that prior to analyzing that bacteria, right, germs didn't exist? No. And this is the same thing with race. It's like, just because people say there is, this whole thing of like, oh, well, how do you even know? Do you have to take a 23andMe and make a certain mark? It's like, dude, it's pretty easy to look and just see if someone's white or see if someone's Jewish. They look Jewish or they look white or they look, this race or that race or what have you, right? And it's one of those things where it's like, I get tired of this exercise in midwitism where they're like, whoa, what if this very white looking Asian person did X, Y? It's like, dude, in a ethnic society, in a majority ethnic society, most of the people would look the same, have the same customs, have the same culture. They wouldn't feel out of place. Because let me tell you something, when you feel out of place. When you feel like something is not your own culture, right? You might say, oh, well, that's feelings or what have you, but those feelings manifest in an objective reality. I mean, why do you think that there are places like Chinatown, right? Or like the Italian part of town? It's because those feelings manifest themselves in a reality where people then start to associate in sort of a smaller subgroup to retain their ethnic core, their ethnic identity. It's just silly, dude. What do you say to these people? It's like, this is a clear reality playing out in history. The Italians thought that they were distinct enough that they would make Italian parts of town. The Irish, same way. You go back on the East, people ask you what ethnicity you are. Does that mean they have to get out the 23andMe and track all that? No, they know. Based on your mannerisms, your culture, the food you eat, the music you listen to, the way you handle yourself in situations, the way that you look, your very DNA, your very being. It's an extremely obvious fact. To the point where overanalyzing it seems like midwitism at that point. Slinger asked, Sap, why is Catholic Dogma by Ludwig Ott so expensive? It's just a really high quality book. Is it worth it? I have the money to get it, but what does it hit upon regarding faith? I'm very average or novice or amateur knowledge of the Catholic faith. So it's basically a source book, similar to Denzinger, where you can find like sources talking about different aspects of Catholic dogma and stuff like that. If you're really into it, if you're really into books like that, I would highly recommend getting Ludwig Ott's Sources of Catholic Dogma. But if you're or Catholic Dogma, but if you're not into source books or that's not something that you would read, I would maybe use your money for something that would be a little bit more conducive to learning about the faith. Like, I think any books by Frank Sheed, if you're a novice or an amateur in terms of your knowledge, would go a longer way with you. And so I'd recommend maybe getting a Frank Sheed book. Pine Sap, I'm not even white, I'm Hispanic, but it annoys me when people say Italian people were thought not to be white. Yeah, I mean, it's like retro, you're Hispanic, and it's like, it's annoying you too, right? You get it. And it's not hard to get. It's just these like, you know, kind of middle of the IQ spectrum type people who can't seem to see the very reality of race, right? I mean, Richard Spencer, or not Richard Spencer, oh my goodness, American Renaissance, dude. Why am I forgetting his name? Why am I forgetting the head of American Renaissance? American. Dude, the head of American Renaissance. Jared Taylor, thank you. Oh my goodness, dude. I'm exhausted. Yeah, Jared Taylor. Jared Taylor says, I mean, it's the lunch table experiment. You guys ever hear of this? The lunch table experiment? Look at a American high school, you know, that is in a relatively sort of like mixed area, right? Where there's like enough of a non-white population that, you know, people who are not white would have enough people to associate with, right? And look at how people associate. Yeah, you might have a lunch group or whatever that does have some non-white people in it, some majority non-white lunch groups that have some white people in it, and vice versa. But the majority of those groups and the way that they associate is with people who look like them, people who have their same race, or I should say are their same race, right? Even, you know, high school students, even kids can gauge that these people are like them. They are the extended family. And so because of that, they then choose to associate with them in the lunch table. It's a very simple just analysis of the reality of race, right?
Addressed what I'm actually saying in the core. You're nibbling around the edges in a way that's just tedious and annoying.
Understand what I'm actually saying when I talk to you about your first principle.
I can't understand. Oh, yes, really, Sargon? I can't understand Sargon. Yes.
This is all autistic. I don't understand what you're saying. This is what you just said to me.
What is your critique of there's clearly a core white stock that is not debatable?
I just gave
what is your
Richard.
critique of that?
How do you identify them?
I'm saying, how do I identify them? You could do it in a myriad of different ways, one of which is a 23andMe test, one of which is a simple
so DNA testing is going to be required for the ethnostate.
There are going to be people, though, that you might not qualify as white under your opinion, though, that are going to look
agree with
white.
you. I agree with what Styx is saying. There is always going to be some tricky, blurry areas to anything. But just because there's a fuzzy border doesn't mean that a concept doesn't exist.
Yes.
There's a fuzzy border between colors.
Creep. You're going to see a lot of people using this for their own advantage and saying, I'm
sure we would. I'm sure we would. That's a purely pragmatic issue that you're raising. That doesn't. No, it's not actually, Sargon. It's because you don't understand argumentation. You think this is some great refutation, but it's not. It's
I'm trying to explain to you what you're saying. You don't even understand it. You don't understand your own philosophy.
You just really need to be quiet. I would rather talk with Styx because Styx is actually addressing.
Can I jump in?
What are you going to do? Censor me?
Can I jump in with a quick point here?
I can only roll my eyes at you, sorry.
Hey, Richard, let's get Styx's opinion here. Okay.
I would say the complication over this in the sense of the Americas is perhaps more important. And this is what I've tried to make this point to people, and they think it makes me like a Nazi gatekeeper. Mm-hmm. I've said before, if you're talking about maybe Europe raising up through tribalism, yeah, you've got basically de facto ethnostates throughout time. You've also got empires that are like multicultural, so-called, or diverse or whatever. But on this side of the pond, things are already mixed. The fundamental problem, as you keep pointing out, is pragmatism. It's the same problem that plagues people who want to deport however many millions of people. It's the same problem that plagues communism. Communism on paper, okay, it's great. It's hallelujah. Everyone's equal. We've all got enough food. You can do whatever you want, as long as you're not abusing others. It's almost like a libertarian utopia when you think of communism taken to its ultimate utopian goal, but it's never worked. It's not pragmatic. It can't be implemented without so much abuse it cripples itself. My problem with identitarianism as it overlaps in a country where it's already not an ethnostate, there's already a strong...
Here's the problem, and this instantly disproves Styx. Even when you had a situation like the Roman Empire, even when you had... Sorry, my hair is just kind of going all over the place if I keep messing with it. Even when you had multi-racial, multi-ethnic empires, they still had pockets of formation that they stuck in. They still had ethnic cores that they stuck in. So it's not a good example. Styx is acting like these multi-racial empires, or these empires that spanned almost over multiple other ethnic groups or what have you, just all got mixed up like one big, one big shake. But they didn't. They actually kept their core even more distinctly. And in fact, they would sometimes have like lords or representatives for their respective groups so they could be a distinct empire or group. Not so that they could just mix around and become, whatever like light shade of brown that these people think we're all going to turn into, right? It's like, it really is not that hard to understand. And these guys have not even analyzed sort of the history of race. It's like people still had a concept of the tribe. Someone who is Gallic did not see themselves as being similar to someone who is Northern Italian or Southern Italian or what have you. There was still a distinct separate identity even within that.
Civic sense or structure, whether it's flawed or works better or worse, doesn't really matter. By trying to displace it with the ethnostate, it will become abusive. And so that sets certain countries apart from others. Now, you may say, oh, well, haha, we've discovered the Marxist plot, because now it's obvious the EU people, they want to pump maybe European countries that were homogenous before full of migrants in order to cause the same issue for future identitarians. But I don't really care if some other country, because I have a national identity, chooses to be an ethnostate. There are white nations that are almost homogenous. You think about Poland. There are black nations that are almost homogenous. But what would you even say?
Slinger asked in chat, I have an Eastern Orthodox friend who's or a friend who's discerning between Catholicism or Eastern Orthodoxy, and he's leaning more Eastern Orthodox. How would I help him understand the Catholic position on things? I would highly, highly recommend for your friend to read guys like Dr. James Lakutis. I think Eric Ybarra is another good example or another good voice. I think even Michael Lofton's Papacy book, that's very accessible and stuff like that, is or his Answering Eastern Orthodoxy book is very accessible. And I think especially if you hammer home like Dr. James Lakutis and Eric Ybarra, it'll really, really help him come around. I also highly recommend, and you can get a PDF for it free online or get it from Dr. Robert Sangenis' site, but Keys Over the Christian World is probably one of the best books ever written on the papacy. And if you help him read that, that's a knockout, right? Also, Eric Ybarra's book on the Filioque and his book on the papacy are just incredible. I love them so much.
For instance, so let me ask
the
this.
United States is an ethnostate. I mean, originally, absolutely.
Okay,
the 1790 Immigration Act effectively said that the immigrants to the United States should be white men and women of good character. No one had any dispute with this. Like, oh, what do we do with a white Turk with an Austrian grandmother? Look, those are questions that can be answered. But
and they considered the Irish to be non-white.
No,
they didn't
that's
consider.
actually a total
Yes,
myth. That's
no. They considered the
when were
Irish to be
Irish
subhuman.
excluded in 1790?
No, have you
Irish
seen
were
some
not
of the stuff
considered to
from the
be
1800s?
Anglos.
What
Irish
about Latin Americans? What about a white Mexican?
They interestingly did not address many of these issues because that wasn't a pragmatic concern. The 1924 Immigration Act did not even address Mexico, even though now Mexican immigration is the most important thing we think about. It was not in a what is effectively a racially defined ethnostate Immigration Act, 1924, as well as 1790. So America is a kind of ethnostate.
But that's the past, though.
Well, sometimes the past is the future, and sometimes the past has to be renewed. And sometimes we can look to the past for answers. In terms of the creation of a concept...
Based reactionary Richard Spencer. We just got to make this guy Catholic.
...of whiteness, America has a very important role to play in this process. Europeans have...
Actually, you know what? That's a really, really good point that Laudator Jesus Christus made in chat. So Father Lawrence Cleric's book, His Broken Body, and Dr. Ed Shinsky's book. Honestly, Dr. Ed Shinsky's book, The Papacy and the Orthodox, I've talked to probably at least 5 to 7 people who were formerly Eastern Orthodox or were discerning, and they said that book by Ed Shinsky convinced them of the Catholic position on the papacy. Because even when, even when Ed will, because Ed's Eastern Orthodox, he's not Catholic, but even when he kind of brings up like an anti-Catholic thing, like I can't remember his treatment of Vigilius in the book. I would actually have to reread that again. But like his treatment of Honorius or what have you, there are so many books written on that subject in Catholic apologetics that it's easily addressed. You know what I mean? So it really kind of starts out as a non-starter. But there's so much leaning to the Catholic position that it doesn't do any sort of service for their position of like all bishops being equal or the pentarchy being a necessary structure of the church or what have you. The pentarchy is great. The pentarchy is cool, as like St. Robert Bellarmine said, but it's not a necessary structure of the church. The church cannot have the pentarchy and the church can still be the church. You know what I mean? Because the pentarchy also didn't even always exist, right? Constantinople and, not Alexandria, Constantinople and Jerusalem, well, the church in Jerusalem, of course, was a very important church, but they weren't even patriarchates yet, right? It was Antioch, Alexandria, and Rome. I believe in the early days. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think off the top of my head, those were the three earliest patriarchates, right? With Rome being the church that was meant to preside over all other churches. So you don't even have the pentarchy originally, right? Now, they might say, well, that's fine if we don't have the pentarchy originally, but the pentarchic principle of if one see falls, at least one of the other sees will still uphold the true faith still holds. But the problem with that is when you listen to the fathers talk about the pentarchy, they place this special emphasis on Rome, not just in an honorific way, but in a manner of saying that it is a necessary constituent of the patriarch, the pentarchy, right? Saint Nicephorus, for instance, and this came up in the debate with Luigi, brings up the fact that no dogma, no doctrine can be confirmed without Rome specifically, even if, in talking in the ecclesiastical usage or sense, or, there's a council held canonically or what have you. If Rome does not give the final say or the final word on that dogma or that doctrine, then it doesn't hold, it doesn't pass. So what does that naturally imply? That naturally implies that Rome would have to have a certain perpetuity to exercise that power. Otherwise, if it didn't have that perpetuity, it could fall away from the faith, and congratulations, you have a necessary part of the church that's just fallen away. Whereas, the fathers would have been more than familiar with the fact that other patriarchs could fall away. They knew this had to happen. Nestorius was the patriarch of, I was about to say Alexandria, not Alexandria, Constantinople, right? John of Antioch around Ephesus, he was the patriarch of Antioch, right? Both were heretics. Both did not believe the faith of the fathers and fell away. Did that mean that the church stopped being the church or stopped existing? No, because you know who had undefiled faith until the end? And this is constantly reaffirmed in our history. Rome did. Pope Saint Celestine, Pope Saint Sixtus III, and, Pope Saint Leo, right? Or, well, Leo came around the time of Chalcedon, but nonetheless, right? Undefiled until the end. That's only for the Roman See. It's not for Constantinople. It's not for Alexandria. It's not for Antioch. It's not for any of these other sees. As good and venerable as they might be, they're important churches, but they don't constitute the necessary rock on which the church was built. Love the stream, Pine. As a Chinaman, this is kind of funny because while the white minority is trying to unify, some Chinese want to balkanize the country. In China? Sorry, I'm trying to reread that. In China, the white minority in China wants to unify while some Chinese want to balkanize the country. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy in that way. Like, it makes sense that the white minority would want to kind of be, with each other and stuff like that too, and be united. And, meanwhile, the Chinese, there's the different groups like the Han or the other ethnicities within China that I sadly am, the names are escaping me, see themselves as being distinct enough that they almost want to balkanize. That's crazy, dude. Reception theory is the best that they have, and that completely negates the reality of a hierarchical and authoritative church. Yes, because you also don't have any way to measure reception theory. You can try citing the Vincentian canon, but the Vincentian canon still requires ultimately really sort of verification from a higher authority that, we as lay people cannot just simply discern. Because then it becomes a matter of every man being his own pope, every man being his own head of the church. Why do we have the hierarchy of the church in the first place? It's to definitively rule on issues with the protection of the Holy Spirit so that we may know what we are to believe. But if we have to, like, for lack of a better term, do theology just to even understand what is like a heresy and what isn't, we're completely lost. It's every man for himself at that point. Yes, we all have to do theology. We all have to draw from divine revelation. We agree with Eastern Orthodox in that, but they don't have any sort of passive infallibility in their church. So because they have lacked the passive infallibility of the teaching office of their church, their laity are completely like up for question about what they should believe. This is why they can't even agree on things like conciliar fundamentalism versus like only the canons and, you know, stated decrees of a council being what's binding on Eastern Orthodox. You know, I mean, this is why honestly, like like Protestants will even kind of get more credence with saints like Saint Maximus or Columbanus, because Saint Maximus, for instance, when he was questioned by the Monothelites, he said, you know, if I have to be the last Catholic on, or essentially he said, if I had to be the last Catholic on earth, I will be. Him thinking that everyone could fall away and that he would be the last Catholic on earth, right? Now, there's a little bit more nuance to that, but it's like that would lend itself more to a Protestant view. Or how about Columbanus, who thought that, you know, even with the participation of Rome and all the patriarchs, Constantinople too could still err. The Second Council of Constantinople could still err. That's a lot more credence to the the Protestant position, if anything else. So it's just kind of crazy in that way. Orthodox argue over Orthodox specific minutia too. I was reading Meyendorff earlier and noticed how often their arguments presume Orthodox ecclesiology. Yeah, that's very true. Rome Eterna. Amen, brother. Amen. That's what I'm talking about. Rome Eterna. It's why Prots convert to EO. They can just keep church hopping if they disagree with their bishop. LOL. Well, I mean, it's like Roosh. Roosh, if we go on his website, he wrote in. We're doing it right now. Roosh, right? Where is his articles? Where is his blog? Did he take down his blog? Looks like he took it down, but Roosh V had this article a while back of like why he was changing jurisdictions from, I think it was like the Armenian church to or no, it might have been Antiochian. I apologize. It might have been Antiochian or Alexandrian. I can't remember which jurisdiction. Might have been. I don't know if there's an Armenian jurisdiction. There might be an Armenian jurisdiction, but he was changing jurisdictions because he's like, oh, the church I go to is modernist now, and it's this and it's that. And it's like, well, are you really one church if you're having to fully change jurisdictions to go to the more based church, to go to the more based Orthodox church and stuff like that at that point? It's like, what is even the point of being in communion or all being one if you're just changing jurisdictions? It's like, I can go to any Catholic mass and there's the mass, there's the Holy Eucharist, there is our Lord, right? But for them, it's like, oh, I gotta go to based church. Don't go to OCA. OCA is modernist, right? Go to ROCOR. Oh, but ROCOR is schismatic from the rest of Eastern Orthodoxy. So go to this other church. And it's like, at what point do you just like wake up one day and realize, like, are we really one? I mean, yeah, the early church had schisms and what have you, but people did not do this parish hopping, right? People went to their local parish that they knew for a fact was in communion with their patriarch, which was in communion with the Bishop of Rome, right? And we see this in a lot of patristic testimony where, you know, there was a verification based on who was in communion with who, too, right? So if you knew that your patriarch was in communion with Rome, you would go to the church, you know, if you had knowledge of those kinds of things. I understand that there's, you know, many lay people who likely didn't, but you know, if you had basic knowledge on that, you would go to whatever church was in communion with Rome and thus be subject to the patriarch that was also under or in communion with Rome, if that makes sense, right? Let's see here. Dyer, Father Spidrian, and many others church hop indefinitely, but I thought it was supposed to be one church. That's what I'm saying, dude. Dr. James Loukudis, last name. It's Likkoudis. Loukudis. Genuine. Yeah, and then you get in the whole old calendarist thing. And in their ecclesiology, it's like, well, yeah, like the patriarchates could fall away from the faith. And so it would make sense that you would just have some bishops that could go off and uphold true orthodoxy contrary to the rest of the body. Because why wouldn't that happen? That happened with Mark of Ephesus, dude. He broke off from the rest and he started doing his own thing, and he's regarded as a saint. He's regarded as a pillar of Eastern Orthodoxy. Well, something like that's perfectly permissible in their ecclesiology, right? I mean, it's insane. Fine, Sab, I used to be looking at the Eastern Orthodox and even went to the local Orthodox church in my area, but I left. And one of the reasons I left was because it feels all about being based. Yeah, it's kind of like spiritual pre-lest, right? I mean, it's like one of those things where for them, it's all about the posturing of their religion, not the actual content or substance. Because the content or substance is like, look, they have a bad contemplative life. I'm going to be honest. Like, that's why their you know, books and stuff like that on spirituality almost like shun sort of being contemplative or, you know, doing things like Lectio Divina or what have you, right? They almost shun that sort of pursuit in prayer. And they'll kind of write it off as like imaginative prayer, right? I'm not saying they don't do any Lectio Divina, but they do kind of shun that because they think it's going to lead you into prelest when it most certainly won't, right? And, you know, the other thing is too, they emphasize only one access to the spiritual life, and that's monasticism. And monasticism is beautiful, but it's one of the many ways in which God can use us to be great saints. To them, it's like, if you're not a monastic, you basically are just like of the world and you're worldly. And that's not necessarily the case, right? There's always going to be lay people. There's always going to be parish priests. There's always going to be monastics. And they all serve their important purpose in the life of the church, all for different reasons, but constituting a necessary hand, foot, eye, mouth, what have you, of the body of Christ.
Often been...
Or appendage, I would like to say. A piece of the body of Christ, I think is a better way to put it.
Have often defined themselves purely ethnically, and they've been at war with one another. This is another kind of fallacious argument against identitarianism, where you could say white nationalism is like, oh, but the Germans hate the French, and the French hate the English, and the English hate the Irish, blah, blah, blah. All of that's true. America actually has something to teach Europeans in the sense that so many of those ethnic disputes, which were real at a time, were ultimately dissolved, and there is a concept of a mostly English, mostly Nordic, but still white America. That is something that America actually brought to this whole question.
How will they dissolve? I really want to know how they resolve. What dissolved the national tensions in America?
If I may,
a lot of the resolution was actually intermarriage and other things.
Hey, sorry, just
No,
one
it
second.
was a national identity.
Yeah, that's also a major as well.
One thing. Thank you everyone for the super chats. I'm collecting the questions on Notepad right now, and I will read the other super chats after the show. I'll only gather the questions that are being asked right now. By the way, National Socialist, thank you for that 100 bucks. Holy fuck! And he says it's okay to be a Nazi. Appreciate that. But I have all the questions being collected right now, and I'm gonna do all the other ones at the end of the show. So yeah, you guys can.
So I'd like to move on with the question, which actually refers to what we've been talking about. It seems.
Also, just real quick, guys, at it's 8:49 right now. At 9, so in 11 minutes, I'll actually give it maybe a little bit more time, but I do got to get going because I'm gonna go hang out with my roommates. I'm gonna keep playing the debate. Let me just use the restroom real quick. Just gotta use it.
That a lot of what I heard here is nitpicking on the details of the precision of the identity of race.
Is that power will be achieved through racial purity. And that just leads you down a road that you don't really want to go down, because as Six points out correctly, it's going to end in blood. I think it's a much worse solution to the problem of, well, anything, really.
It doesn't seem
what
to
is
be
that going to be a solution to?
Can I
that
purity spiraling into anyone who's not a pure Pole must be killed? Is that a problem in Poland right now?
Did I say that anyone who's not a pure Pole would be killed?
Well, you talked about violence, and I don't see the ethno-nationalists talking about
question is purity
spiral.
spiraling necessary? I mean, sure, I can imagine a purity spiral. Sure, that's one possibility.
Well,
I can imagine a
many.
whole host of other things.
Yeah, but do you not think that that's a problem? Setting up a system
be a
that's
problem,
inherently
sure.
going to fail?
It could be a problem, sure. A purity spiral, I don't think so.
You're already having
Thank
these
you
problems.
for your foreknowledge of history.
You're welcome.
The thing is, Sargon, there is a point
already
at
having
which
these problems in the alt-right. That's the thing.
You arrive at a point at which purity spiraling would be meaningless for anyone. You would arrive at a point where you would be unsatisfied that Richard Spencer is really white, and you'd be like, to what extent does that information serve me? And I think that what ethno-nationalists are proposing, and I hear that from Tara McCarthy, I hear that from Richard, it's that they will not engage into a purity spiral. In fact, I hear a lot of openness about having borders of diversity that are not super pure. They are very open at the idea that there would be mixed race people in the ethnostate, and they would be tolerated.
I don't want to destroy. I don't want to destroy the natural diversity within the white race. The fact is, there is major differences between a Russian and a Scotsman, or a Scotsman and an Italian and an Estonian. I think these differences are beautiful. I actually don't really have a problem, to be honest, when you have a mix of a German and an Italian. I think sometimes that kind of mixing of different types within the white race can produce something beautiful, actually. I don't believe in purity spirals. In terms of I've met people
but whether
who
you
are
believe in them or
mixed
not
race.
is kind of irrelevant. They're already happening in the alt-right.
You're describing the alt-right. We're talking about the ethnostate. I mean, you're describing, yes, are there people purity spiraling on Twitter?
Surely.
You're literally making this argument. People are purity spiraling on Twitter, therefore the ethnostate will inherently purity spiral into a bloodbath. That just simply does not follow. It does not follow, Sargon.
It absolutely follows. The idea that you think a political purity spiral
doesn't logically
the country won't end up in people getting shot is absolutely hilarious to me.
Okay.
And no matter how much you try to brush this off, it's not something that's going away.
May I ask a question?
It absolutely does.
Do you understand formal logic?
Do you understand anything that I've said? Do you understand a word I've said? Because you
Spencer.
literally said, I don't understand what you're saying. It's all autistic as far as I can see.
All right.
Literally,
It's
anyone who
not
understands
very
any of these
powerful,
first
what you're
principles
Let me ask a
understands what I'm
question.
saying.
Let me ask a question. Spencer, how would you implement the ethnostate without people getting killed?
People came here peacefully, therefore they could potentially leave peacefully.
All right, potentially, but what about the people who wouldn't want to leave peacefully?
Look, first off, there are many ways that this could be implemented completely peacefully. And actually, there are historical precedents for the creation of ethnostates. The Paris Peace Conference of 1919, following the First World War, was a redrawing of the map according to ethno-determinism. So there was a reinvention of Poland. There was a creation of new states like Yugoslavia. There was population transfers that were done by force, but were actually peaceful. So this can be done. It has been done in the past. There's been massive amounts of migration through planes, trains, and automobiles and ships. And this could be done peacefully.
But
could people be...
But
could people be enticed to leave?
But the political state right now, in the States right now, everything's really heated. Do you really think most people would leave peacefully, especially seeing how just people get heated over politics as it is right now? Like Trump, for example?
I recognize the degree to which my concept of an ethnostate is way out in front. It's on the crest of the wave. It's way out in front. Is this politically possible right this instance? Absolutely not. Is this going to happen next election cycle? No. This is something that we have to be thinking about theologically in the sense of an ultimate goal that is possible and that we want to channel our energies towards. It is an ideal in that sense. So in the sense of, look, can people be enticed to leave? Yes, absolutely. Recent immigrants can be paid, given cash handouts to return to their countries. Could we, through imperialism, create new ethnostates for people? Could we therefore create an African-American homeland that would actually have sovereignty? It's kind of similar, although different and fundamentally different than the reservation system of creating homelands for the American Indians. Could we create these ethnostates for other races through imperialism? We absolutely could. At the end of the day, might the government have to use some kind of force? Could it use this humanely? I think the answer is yes. All of these things are possible. It's really a question of will. The government uses force all the time.
That's the real problem. It's really probable that none of this will go the way you think it will go. Really probable. In fact, it's really probable that this will completely collapse before you even finish what you're trying to achieve.
Okay. Even Hitler himself, if you'll probably understand this, referred to the idea of an eternal camp for an eternal struggle. So even if you were to achieve white imperialistic ethnostate, carve the world up in such a way, you wouldn't have stability. So you just end up going through the whole friggin' thing again. So
I do agree.
In that ways, you sound like a right-wing version of Peter Kropotkin. You sound like you've got this utopian dream that you want to achieve without any violence, but you are aware that there are probably going to be other political actors within your movement, like, I don't know, the sort of Daily Stormer types, who are more than happy to use violence. Who's putting a bullet in the back of who at that point, do you think? You know, and Kropotkin could at least acknowledge.
I can acknowledge that history can become very difficult. History itself is a slaughter bench. I mean, I can acknowledge the fact that history is not pretty. And I can acknowledge that it's not just the ethnostate ideal. There are going to be competing versions of the world for who is going to rule the planet after the fall of the American empire. Muslims have an idea. They have an idea of what they want to see. I don't want to see that. And there's going to be, the Chinese have an idea, which has certain advantages and many disadvantages, to say the least. There are going to be competing visions of who will rule the planet after the fall of the American unipolar world. And what I am saying is that we need our vision. That those who have a passion and a will to implement a vision are going to be the winners in this. If we decide to all be individualistic liberals and say, oh, we don't want to play that game, we're so afraid of the state, we're so afraid of violence that we don't want to play that game, those people will ultimately be slaves. Those people will ultimately be subjugated to those who are willing to use the state, willing to use force, and who have a bold vision of the future and the will to enact it.
Right, so you're willing to use the state, you're willing to use force, and you're pretty sure you're going to get shot in the back by one of your more violent comrades. Why would anyone take your path anyway?
Well, I did answer this in a way, and what I'm saying is that we live at the end of an American unipolar empire, an inheritance of the British Empire to a degree, no.
That's an opinion, though.
Okay, let's not get caught up on that opinion. But I think we would all actually agree that we're in a late stage of this American unipolar world. What I am saying is that if you simply don't want to play this game in favor of liberalism or individualism, all that means is that you are going to be someone else's subject. That the people who are willing to act collectively, who have boldness and a vision, are going to ultimately win. And this is a Machiavellian point in the sense that one must be a little bit evil in order to combat evil.
But that's the whole point of, I think, why some would oppose identitarianism. They're worried that it will be, in the process of implementing it and perhaps thereafter, will be abusive. In fact, if people aren't, oddly enough, a strange point to make because I hate wedge issues, if people aren't broken up by things like that within the context of a civic structure and they feel racially homogenous, wouldn't a person simply, in order to abuse that population, simply happen to be well-spoken and a member of that race? And Sargon's point, I think, still stands, which is you and McCarthy and others may not have a problem with, like, some Italian person. They've got one Arabic great-grandparent, but they're going to look white. You don't care. Others will care. The problem is that those people, if they manage to seize power, which will happen within a civic structure from time to time, it has throughout human history, they can then exploit that for their own gain. It's the fact is power corrupts. Sure. It's not going to stop corrupting because it's a white person governing other white people. But
this is the problem. This is the central aspect that I've always had a problem with when it comes to liberals, right? Where they kind of just say, well, essentially what happens is we can't do this ideology because people can become violent and people can use power. And so therefore we won't use power and we'll try to diminish power. However, it's as Carl Schmitt famously had kind of written, that power will always exist. Power will always exist. Power is not a matter of diminishing its existence, right? It will always be manifest in human civilization. It will always be there. There will always be a throne upon which an ideal or an idea sits. But the question is, which idea do we want to sit on that throne? And necessarily, because an idea sits on that throne, it means that other ideas, other concepts can't likewise sit on that throne either. And so you have an issue here. How can it be the case that you're critical of power when power will always exist. You know, the liberal, again, it's kind of as Spencer said earlier, but the liberal imagines this like vacuum where power and political structures are all these sort of like social concept, right? It's this socially created concept that we don't have any way of verifying, and we just kind of all agree to and consent to because I guess we're like idiots or whatever, right? But in reality, the very nature of power, the very nature of creating a civilization that is based upon a lack of power is impossible, because in there being a lack of power, let's say you have a liberal party take over, right? You have a liberal party take over, and the liberal party implements their liberal society. And when I say liberal, I mean more like classical liberal, not neoliberal. Well, the classical liberal society is not sustainable. So those with more intense radical ideas will inevitably use the base of the society that the liberal has created to thus implement their ideas and impose them upon everybody else. Unless the liberal becomes more violent or becomes more of a purveyor of force, or just is willing to use force to protect their society, at which point they stop being a liberal in that way. And this is again what Schmidt criticizes about the humanitarian. The humanitarian touts how much they love humanity, but it doesn't prevent them from dehumanizing certain groups of people and deeming them the enemies of humanity to such a point where they can destroy that person's life and they can kill them and completely dehumanize them. So that's the ultimate issue with Sargon and Stick's paradigm, is power will always exist, and the only way you keep power is through the use of force, because otherwise you will not keep that power any longer. You will not manifest that power any longer. And liberals either have to employ violence, or they have to be willing to basically just lose in order to maintain their societies. Either you lose your society because a more radical and strong group comes in and takes the power for themselves, or you then use force and you yourself contradict the very idea that you're criticizing someone like Spencer or someone like myself or someone like us for, which is we're not scared to use power or admit that the using of power and force to protect our civilizations is a necessary element of it. So that's the ultimate problem sort of with liberals, is they can't conceive of a world in which they have to use force, because oftentimes they don't want to admit it. Because quite frankly, they want to have their own society too. They want to have a society where their power structure takes hold. But the only way they can get that is either by preserving it by force and by the use of the state, or they just lose it. And if they lose it, well, then you lose, right? But if you preserve it through force, well, you can have it. But now that you have it, you contradict the idea that you've criticized everyone else for. And so that's the whole issue. That's the whole sort of hypocrisy of the liberal, right? Rocho said, I messaged you on Instagram if possible. Can you add me on Instagram? Sorry for being annoying. You'd have to let me know what your Instagram @ is. I'm not sure what your Instagram @ is, unfortunately, my brother. You'll maybe have to let me know that. But good stream, guys. We have been going pretty late. It's probably like 11 where you guys are at if you're on the East Coast, or 10 if you're Central Standard Time. But it is now hit 9:03. I unfortunately have got to cut the stream at this point because I got to go hang out with my friends. They wanted to go get ice cream, so we're gonna go do that. And I'm gonna have to cut it here. But expect the Eric Ibarra debate review, and we've got a lot more content cooking in the kitchen coming up. So it's gonna be really, really fun and really exciting. So God bless. I'll see all you guys later. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was so much fun. God bless, and see y'all later.